You're watching the Sensesphere channel, and now some chilled discussion after the week's angst, with the Doctor Who Detox Hour, or two.
They're noisy blighters, aren't they? Noisy blighters, all one and all, aren't they? So, welcome to a live, very live detox. Look out for mistakes. I think there may be plenty. Where do I start? Did you know Adric 63? Robots 50. Start of the Tom Baker era, 50 years ago on the 28th of December. Season 7's been released. Well, it's mooted now, isn't it? It's on the way in 2025. We've got more Christmas publicity. The War Games in Colour is coming on the 23rd. The Doctor Who proms. I mean, it's been a busy year. A disappointing year in many respects, where my Doctor Who bubble has burst a bit, I feel. But in the good style of detox, I'm not going to be Ebenezer Scrooge. Let's start the Whovian therapy. Okay, look, as I'm massaging now. To lance those boils and ease those Whovian angsts, or whatever we call them, from having a very heavy year. Right, let's get people on, because I'm nattering away here and there's no reason for that to be the case. So I've got the fellas here. Good to see you, fellas.
Hello.
Merry Christmas, I should say. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes.
Same to you. And everybody out there.
Yeah, I know. Where do we start? I mean, I was just kind of doing my spiel, as I often do. There's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to delight in, and there's a lot to probably still be a bit cynical about. I'll get a bit of our tasty kind of adverts out the way first. So if I just explain to everybody, yes, I'll do it in reverse order as if I'm some sort of nutter. So our detox hour with the Autons, the Silurians, season 7, good old John Pertwee. I'm sure you're dying to talk about that. Please give us a subscription. If you have already, please repost. Please spread the word. Please tell at least one other person. Yeah, cheers for that. And of course, the best places to contact me are on Twitter or X or whatever, and on sensesphere@gmail.com. Work for Brian. He's now on our panel on Sundays. And look out for this is for you, Dan. Planets of the Daleks. And look out for us on Sunday with a classic belter of a review on Planets of the Daleks with the panelists and the Who-Pets. You've only seen a taster of them so far. They're in good form, undressing the Doctor Who myth. Okay, that's this Sunday at 6. And you know, it's Christmas stocking stuff. And then the Sunday after at 6, you've got the Robots of Death. So 2 tasty Christmas stocking fillers for all you followers, everybody who's followed us this year. A thank you from us. Planet of the Daleks this Sunday, and Robots of Death the following Sunday. And today I've even got quiz questions and everything. So you two better be on the money, yeah?
Oh, Jesus. No warning.
I was going to ask you a question, by the way, Doug and Dan. Start with Doctor Who. Have you ever seen anything on Doctor Who that you thought you'd never see? Do you know that kind of idea that you go, I never thought I'd be seeing this on this program. Now, it could be a strange scene. It could be just something a bit offbeat. I mean, there's them Cybermen look as though they're, I don't know, loitering with intent.
The best thing I remember seeing, or the thing that just wowed me, was when the Cybermen crushed Litton's hands in Attack of the Cybermen. I thought, wow, that's excellent.
You didn't think you'd see it, but you loved it.
Yeah, just the fact that they show gore like that. I thought, yeah.
For some reason, people think you shouldn't have seen this, but it's still one of my little favorite moments. But
Yeah, that one always comes up, doesn't it? No pun intended.
it does. It's a Christmas stock. I tell you, that would fill a stocking.
If it's green, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I better
See
see
a
a
doctor.
doctor. Yeah, I need to get bigger socks. But so Doug, I know I'm racking your brain, but I'll widen it to TV in a minute. But you know, when you think, God, I didn't think I'd be seeing stuff like this on Doctor Who, or
Well, see,
that's
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat because I was very little and I watched the show when it very much started. The whole idea of something bigger on the inside just did my little tiny brain that he would walk into what was, to my brain, a phone box. And then there was this gigantic series of rooms. I know it's old hat now, but just think of a 6-year-old back in 1963. That did my little head in.
yeah.
So that's mine.
Well, no, that's fine. I mean, to actually with that magical box in your TV lounge, and then on
Yeah,
top of that, you've got another
yeah.
magical box going on. And I think I showed it on one of my Sunday shows. It takes me back to this. This is what to me Doctor Who is. Just sitting there on your Todd. Oh God, and trying to survive the 25 minutes. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
Waiting for the sting at the end.
yeah. And in my case, when it was the Sea Devils, not budging from the spot and actually just nicking my brother's potty. Remember that story? I couldn't move. I was rooted to the spot. Of course, I didn't think I was going to see a gay Yeti. But you know,
Is that
they're out
Shooty
there.
doing his impression of a car wash mitt?
He could be a car wash. That was me thinking of a gay Yeti, but
He looks happy wherever he's doing.
yes, it was earlier in the year for Attitude magazine. It's not a recent one. I'm not baiting anybody. It was just there, but it's you can use them so well in Doctor Who. But and yes, I didn't think I was going to see that. I just never. It's a gun. I think guns in Doctor Who are okay. No, I never thought I was going to see the Doctor having a man-on-man or man-on-woman relationship. I really did not. I can't.
Is that a gun in his pocket, or is he happy to see him?
Yeah, I think he's hedging his bets. He's got something in his pocket and he's got a gun. I think that's the thing. But yeah,
It's the original sonic screwdriver.
Just before I come to the thread and get us all thinking, my other question was, lads, in TV generally, was there anything on TV that you've ever watched and you thought, I never thought I'd see this on TV? That's kind of caught me by surprise. Now, I'm not going for dramatic stuff like Naked Attraction in Britain. I didn't think I'd be seeing people's starkers getting revealed bit by bit. That's a different show. But I'll show you this, for example. It's called, when I was a kid, it was called Finders. Oh, that was this. It was the Chess Masters one. And I couldn't believe that TV was broadcasting a live chess match where you just sit there and you can see that it's like, it's not even talking heads. They just sit there and gradually there's a move. And then you've got some other people commentating. This is my summer holidays, this as a kid. And they'd be commentating saying, I think he should move the knight from C3 to C. And, that was it. And I loved it. Unbelievable. Anything that caught your eye over the years and you thought, I never thought I'd see this on TV.
It's funny. I wonder if there's anyone that does that on YouTube.
I bet there are. Or variations. Yeah.
It's possible, isn't it? And then the other one, if anybody in Britain remembers Finders Keepers, it was when we had the 1980s computer games, and you had two teams of kids, and they had you could see a kind of electronic screen, and it was a bit like battleships. You had to kind of, if you got a question right, you said C4, and then if there was something there, you won something. It was something like that. Loved all that, and of course, when you think about it, live on TV, not live, sorry, recorded on TV, you just had these computer games and you then had chess. Any thoughts, lads? I'll check what the thread's thinking.
Many years ago, I don't know if Dan will remember this. There was this trend. There would be like a person in the early hours of the morning just talking to the camera, just ad-libbing, and then basically just coming up with lotto numbers or just games. And I never understood the concept. It was a short-lived thing but I think it was for insomniacs, because I found myself watching it. It was just one person, probably very lowly paid, just talking to the camera, and they were just playing silly little games that were interactive with the viewers. I think the idea was you phoned in, and obviously when you phoned in, the channel got some money from it. But it was the most bizarre television, except I found myself watching it, which is really sad.
Well, I'll say hello to people in the thread now. I mean, we've got Lee Smith here, Stephanie Barrett, to Hobart, Tassie.
Hello,
We've got another Aussie.
Hello.
Yeah, from Tassie.
Lee Smith is amazed that robots is 50. I know. Well, I think what's more amazing is that means how old are we, us lot?
That's young for me.
Lee Smith, you do that again and you're going to get a toxic alert. Everybody got their Christmas shopping done. No, I've been making these shows. I'm in right. But yes, Morgan Dean, good to see you. Morning, evening, afternoon. I never know what to say on this. I feel like David Frost when he used to go international. Matt Pot, good to see you. I know, obviously, you're an Aussie. Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. Well, of course, the Sesame Street reference is a good one because we've got our puppets who will be on Sunday's show.
He's a pink snuffleupagus.
Yeah. The Doctor hitting on someone who's a bounty hunter, and whilst his companion is in mortal peril, RTD's writing is terrible. We've got an item on RTD has been speaking more. He's the gift that keeps giving. Julian Gabriel Clark, wouldn't it be funny if Rogue was a regenerated river song? Well, it would be fascinating.
Don't give them ideas.
Stephanie in Hobart, Adric dying shocked me. I never thought I'd see a companion dying like that. I never thought I'd see an actor like no, sorry. On my Sunday show, this. Stephanie, the Contrarian, Simon Anthony was video editing Earthshock, and he explained that that moment when Matthew Waterhouse is looking as though he's very tentative on that machine, trying to uncode it and stop the bomb. It was a second or third take, and the explosion the first time had been too big. And so Matthew Waterhouse is very, very gingerly pressing, and that's why it looks like it does. So, yeah, I love that little snippet there. And let's just see if we've got some. Yeah, I've said hello to Morgan Dean, Matt Pot. Oh, yes, I didn't realize. I know when I've seen you on Type 40. Hobart as well.
Why is there so many Doctor Who fans in Tassie? Is like everyone in Tassie a Doctor Who fan?
Well, Dwayne's onto it. Dwayne from Silent Audio's onto it. Yeah, we'll try not to give them ideas, Peter. Yeah, I know that's naughty of us. We shouldn't be doing that. No way. I want a cut. Hello, Divine and Dragon. Kids aren't there today. If RTD wants to do Bad Wolf a solid, he will go in yeah, well, there is nothing he can say that won't make waves at this point. Oh, Divine and Dragon, I've got some delicious little interview bits for you.
I read that wrong. I thought he said go commando.
Well, what's left? The face of Sutek at the start of Pyramids of Mars scared the living bejesus out of me. Yeah, it's his voice. It's his voice. That was a brilliant voice. So yes, that's got us going on TV generally. I may ask a few more general ones later on. You know how we like a natter. But let's get going into the first kind of little item, so to speak. And of course, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say for a second, I mean, Matthew Waterhouse was 63 yesterday. Is there an episode or a story where you thought Adric was all right? I mean,
I liked Adric and everything. I don't know what the problem was.
What?
Hey,
I think sarcasm is there.
No, not sarcastic at all. I really liked Adric. I thought he was good. I liked him better with Tom Baker.
What would you have said in Logopolis was his best story then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't know that people had a problem with him, to be honest, until probably in the 2000s. So Yeah, that's had.
Well, we've got
without the
Matt
internet.
Pot liked Adric. Please tell us.
Yeah.
I was going to say why, Matt. Tell us. I've got a State of Decay review coming up probably early 2025. And we were talking about in State of Decay, he's walking in the TARDIS when he's on his own. It's just weird. It's just so strange. And it just, I don't know, he's an alien. So maybe, now, our friend who I never pronounce, you know why, give Adric a break. He was good in Keep of Traken and Legopolis. Okay, fair.
Okay.
He
was good.
That's why I'm asking the question. And
He's good in all of it. Especially
Adric was the best companion in the classic era, says Matt the Silent. We're all different. We said we would never be an echo chamber on this show. But Stephanie Barrett did find him annoying. So you get fighting Matt in Hobart. And then last one, Paul Richards. Adric worked best with Tom, as just you said, Dan. As a child, I didn't dislike him, but he was written to be a bit whiny at times.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe it was the writing, because he was very whiny and annoying, so it's probably no reflection on the actor, just the character, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, so there we go. We're not going to agree on that one today, but
No.
Now, this was on Classic Who's Facebook, and so I want the lads, because we'll only do this a couple of times. So, Doug, a number.
Yes.
What? Give me a number 1 to 20.
It's just a trick question. I don't know. 5.
5. Dan, give me a number 1 to 20.
10.
Okay, so 5 and 10. Here we go. So 5. That you've got emojis about Classic Who, so you can see there. You've got for number 5.
God, not maths. Oh.
Let's have a look. I'll try and maximize it for you. So there's 5 and there's 10. Anyone guessing what the story is from Classic Who?
I'm just getting flashbacks to school and I'm not enjoying this. Thank you.
City of Death.
City of Death is your number 10.
Oh, no. I thought we were doing 5.
All right, so you're saying City of Death for 5, and for your own one, number 10, what you're reckoning?
I can't read emojis.
I know. I'm the same. I'm looking at 15. I'm looking at 15, and I'm guessing is that Robots of Death. That's what I'm looking at. You see, number 15.
Horns of Nine.
Yeah. So
King's Demons.
Okay, so let's take a look.
Was there an episode called Pirate Lightbulb?
Yeah.
So number 5 apparently was Paradise Towers. So it was a desert island. So yeah, towers and paradise. Okay.
So what was number 1 again? It wasn't Pirate Lightbulb?
It was Ghost Light.
Oh, there's a ghost. See, I should have my reading glasses on. Okay, Ghost Light. I get it now.
So yeah, there you go. So I just thought I'd throw them in. I didn't want to make you challenged, but there you go.
Thank you.
Now, as you know, I do like to do an item where we go back to feeling good about Doctor Who and when we were sat in front of the telly. I know you Aussies did it sometimes at different times of day, but I still enjoy doing it. So let's enjoy our scheduled slumber blanket.
These sensorites have found a way to take control.
It's our minds that they take over.
Speak up, I can't hear.
Earthmen have visited the set sphere,
but we do not wish to harm you.
Oh, it's so nice that to hear William Hartnell like that. So, of course, you may not have been born when these were on. The whole point is we just go, God, if we knew could get the TARDIS. So this is obviously Patrick Troughton. And if you take a look at this, we've got Grandstand. This is obviously the British version thing. Jukebox Jury, where they had all the latest hits. That's what I've heard. I've seen clips. Then you had the news.
I remember it.
Yeah. Then you had Doctor Who. Yep. And this one was The Highlanders, Part 1. Mm-hmm. Then you had Dixon of Dock Green with Jack Warner, a police drama. Then you had High Adventure with Cary Grant, Jean Arthur, Rita Hayworth. And then you had the Val Doonican show. And on there, you had Roy Castle and John Williams, the guitarist it'll be. So, I don't know. Do you fancy a bit of timey-wimey, lads? Doesn't... You see...
Okay.
The Jukebox Jury... I suppose now it would be interesting to watch a time when people were interested in music, that what's in the charts. Because now I know what's in the charts now because it's a song against our Prime Minister. And that's got to number 1. But apart from that, I don't have a clue. Jukebox Jury, Dixon of Dock Green. I remember slightly in the 70s, and enjoying his authority and his moralizing at the end. Does this era appeal to you, Dan? Are you glad you were there? Weren't there? Or
I'm quite happy with where I was at in the 80s and with reruns of the 70s.
Now, our friend who I cannot pronounce for a reason just finished Power of the Daleks and is starting Highlanders tomorrow. So there you go. That seems to be a kind of timey-wimey neat trick we're doing there. Crimpling, hello. I've got the Cary Grant film on Blu-ray. I know I showed a William Hartnell one last week, and it's tempting just to get a black and white on and just kind of whatever, just forget.
Hey, Brendan, we should check with Moppycan just to make sure that he hasn't got the missing episodes of those stories.
We should always ask, shouldn't we? By rights, we should
just in case they don't know they're missing.
So
you never know.
We normally do have our ups and downs of the week. This could be ups and downs of the year, though. We could widen it. So I'll ask the question first. Yes, ups and downs. You can take your pick. Doug, Doctor Who, ups and downs. Good news.
Well, one of them, Brendan, was your show on Sunday, your anniversary show. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was really good fun to watch. So that was a definite up for sure.
I can't believe it.
Apart from that, I'm making my way through the William Hartnell Blu-ray set. I'm up to. I'm going to start watching the Web Planet soon, so that might classify as a down. I don't know. I haven't seen it since I was very young.
Got it. What about you, Dan?
A few people saying the season 7 on Blu-ray leak.
Yes, Morgan, we're going to discuss it. You know, from my thumbnail, we'll definitely be discussing season 7. Oh yeah,
Great season.
It's ending the year on a nice high. It's like I call it a Christmas stocking filler, but not yet. But it's just nice to know it's on the way. So, I mean, I'm trying not to mention season 1. I'm trying to think of bigger stuff, regarding, you've got War Games in Colour coming up.
Yeah.
You've got the Doctor Who prom. There's various items out there that coming up that sound all right. Every time RTD opens his mouth in an interview, that tends to get me on the downer.
The Radio Times. I saw the Radio Times thing on YouTube. Those smug buggers. That was a down for the week. Did you see that? It was a little interview with both of them.
Yeah,
that was a down.
Yeah.
I'm making a New Year's resolution to think more positively about RTD and Moffat. I just think we need to let it go. And these guys, like I think of them as they're like the Terrence.
We're going to do Kumbaya in a minute.
They're like the Terrence Dicks and Robert Holmes of the modern era. And
gee, me. And you don't like Paladin. I mean,
up until 2023.
Have you been drinking?
Everything was good right up until 2023 with these guys. We just need to calm down.
Dan, obviously you've had a Christmas party today, haven't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Dan's looking very happy.
Dear me.
I've got my full this is my up for the week. I've got my full force now.
That's what I mean. Anything goes now. Now he's got that. Anything goes. He's happy. He's happy. Well, okay. We've got some big items we can talk about regarding the ups and downs. So we'll kind of go through them bit by bit. But yeah, there's one. Thank you, Warren Green. I said I'd he made this lovely little screenshot, so to speak. So in Britain, of course, please tell us, lads, when you might get to see this stuff. Monday, the 23rd of December at 9:00, the War Games in Colour. I actually watched the War Games all again 2 days ago. I'll be very interested what they do.
If you guys get it on Monday, the 23rd, then we probably get it Sunday.
Okay. And then will you see the Doctor Who prom? We're getting it on Christmas Eve.
No, we won't get them here. We'll have to figure out a way to tune in.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to watch War Games in colour. I haven't got a VPN, and I guess I'll buy the Blu-ray, but that doesn't help me for now.
Yeah. Then, of course,
Yeah.
Joy to the World on Christmas Day. And then the most dangerous thing of all is Unleashed. Because, of course, it's Unleashed that tends to get me grated.
Yeah, I'm not
all the
watching
time.
that.
I know.
Unless he says something controversial, and then
Well-
when I see it on YouTube, I'll slag him off.
Well,
Break the New Year's resolution.
now, I found this ironic because they were they had a screening of Joy to the World, and look at the screen. Hello, Doctor Who fans. What you're about to watch won't be broadcast until Christmas Day. Please help us keep the secret by not sharing on social media or even telling your family and friends. Thank you and enjoy. I mean, oh, that's nice. Let's not have any spoilers. Except I feel as though as a Doctor Who fan, I know everything almost in this blooming episode. I mean, straight away, Russell Davies is telling us what?
You've missed something really obvious in that picture back there
Which one?
at
What?
the premiere.
You mean
there's no one
Nobody.
there? There's one person
Nobody
there.
there.
Yeah,
There's-
it must be. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, who's that?
Couldn't
Shooty in a
even
wig.
get them to the. Couldn't even get them to the screening.
Well, Jim Hillis is bringing. He's bringing his positive thoughts. He wants a resignation in the new year. There you go.
You'd probably get a firing.
So, but of course, he says, let's keep it secret. And I agree. Less is more. Just let us just watch the blooming thing. But of course, here we go. The Doctor, he knows what to do about facing death. He runs, see things, make friends, have a laugh, never resent anything. Excuse me. Excuse me. Has somebody got the script there? Never resent anything. Go and touch grass. Be joyful in the face of everything. Don't ever get angry. However dangerous and terrifying and awful it is, he gets a kick out of it. That sounds as though it's going to be very light. Very light.
It's Christmas. What's this going to be like? I have one important question, though. Is it Joy to the World or Joy to the Worlds? Because apparently Disney is showing it as Joy to the Worlds.
Yes. Disney have added that S. It suddenly goes bing. Whereas the Christmas stuff I've seen in Britain on Radio Times and that just says Joy to the World. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Are they getting it in stereo? I mean, so obviously that's not giving much away, but it's telling me just the usual bland stuff about how he views Doctor Who to me. But there was more. Keep everything quiet. Shh, do it, Tom Baker. Shh. And then suddenly the reviews of Joy to the World have come out at midnight. Some of them are dropping little hints like it's
Are they good?
Well, I've got a few here. Stellar Addition and Starburst of Sentimentality. Stephen Moffat implied in his Doctor Who podcast that Stefter Wally, or whatever, his character, Anita Ben, has a more significant role in Joy to the World than just the hotel clerk who checks Joy into her room. So she's the caretaker as well. And she also does the hoovering. I don't know what and you just think, just let us watch it. Please, just let us watch it. So are you getting excited now with all these little tidbits I'm finding here?
Yes.
Man, if I was a kid, none of this would. Well, actually, no. Even as an adult, doesn't excite me. This hyperbole.
Yeah, well, and Lee Smith, who's for the last few broadcasts I've done, have said I can't wait for your reaction, our channel's reaction to the Christmas Day, and I think we're looking at the 27th. It's yet to be confirmed, but we're looking around then. How does Shooty jump like that? Has he inherited the rubber legs Tegan had to survive that fall down that shaft in the Power of the Doctor? I know. How the hell should she do that? She's amazing.
She was an Aussie.
Yes.
She probably landed on Yaz's mattress at the bottom of the lift shaft.
But you did say, Doug, what are the reviews like? I've only got bits and bobs, but if you take a look at this one,
10 out of 10. Wow.
Yeah, a pitch perfect Christmas special that shows off all of Stephen Moffat's clever timey-wimey plotting, taken from laughter to tears and back again with what feels like the ultimate Doctor Who Christmas special.
Are they tears of joy, though?
Yeah, I know. So I know it's Christmas, and I know you think I can be a Grinch, so I've got to...
You are a Grinch.
Yeah. Well, Lee Smith is actually saying now they've seen that, I need to do this. So that's on behalf of some of the thread who are getting triggered. I now have to do that alarm for people in the thread. So, and here's a bit more. Last one on Christmas trailer, Christmas episode. Joy to the World may not be Doctor Who's most innovative or groundbreaking Christmas special, but its festive spirit and warm sentimentality make it one of the show's most enjoyable episodes in a long time. I'll take that, I have to say. It also benefits from a great balance of emotional moments and sharp jokes. Stephen Moffat's on top form, and Doctor Who will be making a huge mistake by not keeping him around for as long as he's willing to stay. Oh, don't have him back as showrunner, though.
No, maybe not. I'd rather someone fresh.
Yeah, he can write a script. Like I said,
Yes.
Douglas is cancelled, was on point. I thought was very sharp.
I just saw that. It was great. That was really good.
Yes. And it was really on trend regarding cancel culture and everything. And I thought Stephen Moffat,
very clever.
Yeah, he's got a sharp mind. I wish he wouldn't keep saying timey-wimey and all this stuff, because it's a bit meh. Crimpling, hello. Anita Ben, is that a nod to this episode being the Doctor Who version of Mr. Ben, with people dressed in historical dress and walking through doors into the past as if by magic? Crimpling, I never thought of that, and Mr. Ben's one of my favourite kids' programmes. Oh my God, you've got me triggered now. I'll have to look into it.
He's got a mind like a steel trap, hasn't he? That's very clever.
Yeah, and then the shopkeeper arrives at the end and says to the Doctor, time over, you've got to get back in your... I don't know, yeah. And then Divining Dragon is getting excited. Not. 2 Gatwas are 2 more than I want to see.
I think Divine Dragon's a Grinch as well now.
I know, it's spreading.
I think
Jim...
Divining Dragon's a closet shooty fan.
Well, Jim Hillis, you just know this Christmas special is going to be a stinker. Oh, God. You're not going to sleep. So I can see I'm calming everybody's nerves. Not. Let's have a look. Let's continue in this kind of excavation.
Don't you think it's funny to say that, to talk about, the Christmas episode not being the most innovative? Like, would anyone ever think about the Christmas special and go, I want the most innovative Doctor Who we've ever seen on Christmas Day?
No, it's just fluff.
Yeah. But just before we move on, and like I said, we've got season 7 to talk about. We've got Robot at 50 to talk about, and other things. Stephen Moffat has obviously been talking to various publications about the Christmas special. And of course, that's the next thing up on the rank. They were discussing comedy in drama generally. So then they just said, that's a trend, isn't it? They want comedies without gags. It seems that shows that win Best Comedy Award now have no comedy or gags in them, says Stephen Moffat. And he's kind of saying what I think we all agree, which is there's no real comedy now. So the ones winning awards aren't the right ones. So, in a way, I'm thinking, I agree with you there, mate.
I don't think people are getting what they want, to be honest. So,
well, where's the funny stuff? I hardly laugh at TV anymore. I mean, what is there to laugh at?
I like that Lee Mack. That Lee Mack show, or is it Not Going Out or something? I quite like that.
Yeah, it's not like comedy used to be, though, is it? There's a strange element to it. So anyway, there was that. A few more publicity shots. There's a Doctor staring at a brick wall. That feels as though that's my experience of season 1. Just think, but
that's my life.
What am I staring at? What is it that I am watching? Of course, the Time Hotel's all about that door that sometimes is locked between next. Yeah. So anyway,
but it's like, just take that for instance, right? He's opening a door and it's like he's got this look like, wow, there's a brick wall there. It's like, dude, you're traveling a TARDIS. Like, how is that interesting?
Well, it's because he's got a brand new gadget sonic screwdriver, and although it's nice and bling, he doesn't know how to work it. Whereas David Tennant's 14th Doctor was so slick in the Star Beast, making force fields and screens and everything. I mean, my God, he's got a sat-nav on that blooming sonic screwdriver. He's got everything. And couldn't he resonate concrete and make it all collapse? And oh my.
That's a good one.
Oh heck. He's got his Christmas early. So yes, I wonder if he's going to break the fourth wall. sorry. But anyway.
Oh, Brendan.
I know. It's a Christmas cracker.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to travel in the fourth dimension?
So, there was this snippet from Russell Davies talking to Stephen Moffat. Right, so it's on trend. It's about the Christmas special at the moment. There's one marvelous scene when they're all in the hotel room and the doors keep opening. There were 3 doors. There's a bathroom door. There's a hotel door. That's right. And there's 2 doctors and there's all that. Oh, you can see it all there. You can see a farce there. And I thought, oh, no.
That's Run for Your Wife. That's like that farce with that Run for Your Wife, wasn't it? That's what they're bloody well doing.
I think, and there's a more. So if anyone thinks, Brendan, don't just jump on one word, I'll continue. So farce is not what I want to see for Doctor Who. I understand a Christmas episode can go light. I get that. But farce means you're not taking it too seriously at all. It's like breaking the fourth wall, not taking it seriously. And then I do start to just think, so what's the reason for anyone to watch Doctor Who anymore, apart from it's supposed to make you smile and think, oh, well, that's better than watching variety TV. I mean, anyway.
Apart from 73 yards, I'd argue most of season 1 was predicated on farce, really.
Yeah.
Not from 73.
So I'm very angry that Lee Smith didn't remind me, so I'm going to have to do this now. I'm getting triggered by the word farce. I really am. What do you think, Thread? Farce, Doctor Who. It's fantasy. It's farce. Are these people understanding this show? I mean, can you imagine, Doug? We're going to talk about season 7 today. Season 7. Would you ever, in anything to do with season 7, apply the word farce? Apart from
no.
The wheelchair chase sequence and Spearhead. I don't know.
Maybe.
But honestly, not high farce at all.
No.
So I don't know. It worries me this. Anyway, so I will continue. And so they say the Time Hotel is such a great Doctor Who idea, isn't it? I suppose it is. Whose was it? Oh, you don't have to give Stephen ideas for Christ's sake. My brief amounted to Christmas special, please, darling. And that was it. Yes, I have no ideas. You have one, but that's not true. You did have an idea. And then they go into it. Well, we did talk about farces, about doing a comedy, says RTD. So Moffat says, yeah, because I threatened so many years ago to do a time travel farce on Doctor Who, a proper door flapping one, and I never ever got around to writing it, despite more than the normal number of opportunities. And this isn't it either. I just didn't think it was quite right to go, but there's a ghost of it. So there's a ghost of time travel farce. Thoughts?
I really want to be excited for this, but you're taking it away from me.
I'm trying. I thought I'd be. I'm doing the right thing. I'm showing you.
You know what it is? I feel ungrateful because, like, you know, it's pretty stale through the Chibnall era. You got nothing about what was coming, but this stuff's not. It's just not selling it. It doesn't get me excited.
Well, just look at what the thread's saying. Just look at the thread. These are Doctor Who fans who are passionate. And look what they're saying. Doctor Who isn't farce. We used to accept that there might be a one-line joke or something like that. You see, as soon as you start to say Doctor Who has Christmas specials, and then everyone says, well, Christmas has to be light and frothy. And Doctor Who hasn't exactly been blooming heavy anyway. Peter, I'm going to need to take my extra migraine meds for how saccharine their interviews are. I know. I'm sorry. Crimpling, in this farce, will a tryst be that Shooty is able to keep his trousers on? Well, he's in his dressing gown, so we're getting closer to you know what. There might be a Sonic down there. I don't know. Jim Hillis, I think that farce is a good moniker for current Who. You said it, mate. David Glenn, wheelchair chase scene. Almost sorry, I missed that. Almost. Look, everybody's giving me the love, aren't they, about this Christmas special? Yeah, I agree, Peter. It was only a tiny bit. And actually, John Pertwee sat down with himself later on and with the crew. And I think he never really did comedy much after that at all, did he? He
No,
went
he didn't.
very nice and serious. I loved the. Anyway, Pertwee's coming. A little bit more. Nicola Coughlan, obviously from Derry Girls. Was it difficult to get her for the Christmas guest? The question's funny because it's almost like saying, was it difficult to get anybody on your Doctor Who because it's so rubbish? No, sorry, to get her on. And given how stratospheric her career is, what you mean, Doctor? You see, I'm an English teacher. The implications there is Doctor Who not stratospheric? Is it not elevating any actor to go on Doctor Who? Has it been killed so much? So anyway, she's got a stratospheric career. Doctor Who clearly hasn't. That's obviously what that question's hinting at. And anyway, RTD said she was free. So she was jobless. She was jobless. So she said, yeah. And she loved it. She's an old friend of Shooty's. I kind of threw her. I kind of knew her to say hello to. And to be honest, she's a bit of our hands off. It was a very simple offer and a very simple acceptance. Delightful woman, blah, blah, blah. But as you know, she gave an interview recently on Graham Norton when she said she didn't understand the plot. So I don't know quite what that means. I think it hints that it's timey-wimey. And therefore...
you know what? I think we're in an era where it's not cool to understand or really be into Doctor Who. So it's easy. We're in that phase now where people just, when they're out in public, they're like, I watched it, but I didn't really get it,
Yeah, I've noticed, I was discussing this on another podcast yesterday. I've noticed it's not the younger generation. I can't do that because as a teacher, I'm sorry, there's some great people coming through. But generally, it seems that people who are actually saying they enjoy TV at the moment are people who are saying, I like the vibe. Didn't you just get that feel from it? It has a nice touch of it. Or I saw myself in it, so I'm happy. And I'm thinking, yeah, but the plot, characterization, the nuance, detail seems to be second to how it is. Or is pretending to say it is. So, whether Shooty's Doctor is a hit or not, the argument is, but look, he's great representation, so shut up. And you go, no, but we can go past that and talk about, is he a good Doctor? Are the plots working? And everyone's going, yeah, but it's good for representation. So, get over yourself. And you think,
no, that's not good enough. We had representation bloody 40 years ago. It's not good enough to just say you got, actors with personal attributes. That's not, it doesn't work. You've got to have the characterization down, Pat.
And I'm still in the camp. I know a few of my other panelists are still in the camp going, well, I haven't quite decided yet. They're trying to be fair, but he hasn't sealed it yet.
Yeah, I still think I still think if you understood what's not working, you could sit down and get this working. But I just feel like these guys, even listening to these sorts of interviews and discussions, I just don't feel like they know what makes Doctor Who tick these days. Like what's going to actually...
I think they think it is working, don't they? They don't feel it's not working. They clearly think we're all idiots.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't. I honestly feel like we're in the I mean, Robert Holmes wrote great scripts, but let's face it, the last ones weren't the best, and I just feel like we're in that era where we just don't have our best foot forward anymore.
Well, let's for a second before I don't want us to go too toxic. Obviously, it's my fault because I'm just relating the news. But what I could do to cheer everybody up is show you a moment, which is we've got Planet of the Daleks on Sunday, and here's Here's a few clips. This is surely one of the most controversial moments in Doctor Who history. We've always got the plane of stones. I think it looked like a nightclub. It was like a voyeurist. I mean, I think the shooty Doctor would have just got on some little elevated stone and just kind of been gyrating and thought he was in some sort of little night spot. I think the Doctor's going through. He's like in the charity shop, going through the shelves. He's going through all this bric-a-brac. You know, we're going to die. Hold on a minute. I like this plastic. Hold on. Do you know they haven't dusted it?
What happens on the plane of stones stays on the plane of stones.
Who's up for that?
Okay, Brendan, I don't know if it's just me, but I think technical issues again, but not on my side. All I saw was a black screen then and no sound. So I don't know what you showed me.
Well, did you see it, Dan?
Yeah, all good, mate.
Okay.
I
okay.
think,
Why not me?
so Brendan, is Planet of the Daleks is that a Christmas episode for you?
No, it's not a Christmas episode, but it's a treat. For every proper Doctor Who fan, unlike you, Dan, it's really good. It's really good stuff. Yeah, anyway. So this is surely one of the most controversial moments.
What I saw was very black and very soundless, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it looks really good. I mean,
I'm seeing a black screen now too. Are you getting this, or is it just my screen again?
Yeah, it's just you.
Got it.
So,
what's going on here? This is your new little upgrade, isn't it?
No. Well, it's not. So there you go, everybody.
You need to play the Boomer Doug intro.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. Where was my Boomer Doug intro? That didn't happen either.
So, Divana Dragon, the reality is representation is not the way to present a story. We need to have a strong story with strong characters. Well, here. Morgan Dean, there's too much talking down to everyone and lecturing in modern TV, Doctor Who especially. If Doctor Who was always political, it was always treated its audience with respect. We discussed this, Morgan, in our Planet of the Daleks review. We actually obviously call it out because it is a famous story, isn't it, Dan? For all the moralizing about, pacifism and war and everything, but it's the way it's done, which I thought was better. Yes, Moppy, Brian, our panelist from Canada, is a David Tennant lookalike. So he, you will see him on that review. Anyway, there you go. So back to the present day. You see, I tried to cheer you up. I tried. I think, Doug, you seen a black screen probably did cheer you up compared to this, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, it just looks so like... Wasn't the criticism in the old days that sometimes the sets were too light, too this, too that? I know it's Christmas, but it just looks too light.
It's a bit bright, isn't it? Yeah.
You're just trying to get us more excited about watching Planet of the Daleks, aren't you?
Yeah. Now, well, I'll get season 2. There's a sneak shot. So, oh my gosh, we might have a moment when they're in the TARDIS, and she shows cleavage. No, sorry, and so yeah, we've got Verada see-through there, and he looks all jazzed up. It's that Miami type looking episode, but there they are, both in the TARDIS. Excited? You see, I'm maxing it up now.
I have a feeling she's going to be good.
Was she?
Me too.
Yeah. Well, I really. Yeah, as Lee Smith says, she's got attributes.
I've seen her in other things. She's very fit, but I've seen her in other things. She's a very good actor.
Yeah. I think she's got a very good personality. That's my guess.
Yeah. Okay, gang. Are you ready? Excuse me. I don't know. How many times can I do this? It's the detox, so I have to... He has been talking, so I'm sorry, I have to report. Here we go. Russell T. Davies, I get TV ideas brushing my teeth. So
when on the crapper, I think.
So you see, when he's flossing, he suddenly sees how he can make flux better. It's amazing. So anyway,
I bet he's got false teeth. I don't believe him.
so here we go, folks. Just in case you can't believe what you're hearing, some writers, creative juices flow once they bounce ideas about with a pal. That's actually how I like to talk to people, and I get a few ideas that way. However, I'm not him, am I? Others might come out with the magic staring out of the window of a bus. Now, RTD has revealed the secret to his success, maybe down to a staple part of his morning routine. Honestly, I swear to you, brushing your teeth. I think everything is kind of worked into my mind overnight, and you wake up and you brush your teeth and things click into place. He compared it to kind of doing Wordle. Leave it for an hour and suddenly the word is there. Okay. I think a lot of life is like this now, subconscious. It goes click, click, click and ticks through all the algorithms and ideas. So brushing your teeth, honestly, sometimes things just go boom, boom, boom. I've thought of entire shows brushing my teeth. God, how many teeth has he got? When it comes to putting pen to paper, Davies locks himself away. I'm very suspicious of those people who sit in cafes.
Why?
Because they talk to people. I don't know. Oh. So let's just say, I mean, I'm always intrigued what he's saying. I know it's more than that, RTD. Sometimes he tries to make it sound lighter, but we also know from other interviews he says he's up all night trying to get one word right. As I then counter that and say, well, it's a shame he didn't spend more time on a redraft of Empire of Death, but there you go. But
he only does first drafts. He's admitted it. That's all he'll do now.
Yeah,
but see, I think this is the problem. You don't. Why do you have to? This seems to be the new mantra. You've always got to be saying something, or making a point, or there are reasons why Shakespeare and classics. There's universal truths. There's the hero's journey. You innovate by using the same ingredients over and over again, and that's
exactly
what Doctor Who's always been good at, and that's what the good stuff is able to do.
I mean, I am trying my best to kind of fit it into a context, which is he's just trying to be light about this, but considering the show's in a different place to when he first did Doctor Who, considering, like you said, Dan, I think a showrunner or producer, JNT, was very careful, to be quite honest, about publicity, as Barry Letts was and all the rest of it. I just think we're getting into silly territory now when don't want Doctor Who to be taken seriously in any shape or form, in any discussion. Okay, it's going to be a light Christmas episode. Okay, there's going to be song and dance routines in the Goblin one and in Devil's Cord. You're going to have a massive wagging dog as the big finale to the series. Carry on, carry on, carry on. And then you actually then say to the public that you coming up with ideas for Doctor Who is like when you're brushing your teeth. Now, I know what he's saying, but it's just not good PR to be. It makes it sound flippant. It just sounds easy. I know he's mentioning that your cogs are working in your head overnight and stuff like that, but I think he was trying to do so many things with Doctor Who in season 1 with Mrs. Susan Twist and Mrs. Flood and Ruby Sunday and Sutek coming back that the spoon. Actually, it's not about when you're, brushing your teeth and sitting down going, do you know what? I think that clicks now. God, you need more than that. You need to actually remember when John Cleese and Connie Booth used to say for Fawlty Towers that their house was diagrams all over the wall. And that was to write farce.
But you know what? I actually believe what he's saying in these interviews. I actually feel that these processes or these things, I think this is how RTD operates these days. And you know what? This does not represent what you read in like the Writer's Tale and that. When you sit down and read the Writer's Tale, you're a guy that you're listening to a guy who's not sure of himself, who is stressing over everything to the point where, he's just killing himself trying to get this thing together. And And I just don't believe that's what's happening this time around. I don't.
No,
And
that's good.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
good
want him
point.
to either. He earned the accolades that he got, and I certainly don't want to have his legacy tarnished. But yeah, it's
Too late.
I just think that I actually think the way he's talking these days is I think he is putting as much thought as he's saying in these articles and on Unleashed into things. I just don't think he's slaving away at it like he had used to do.
No, I think, and that's we all suspect that's why he said fantasy, because you don't need to apply logic. You don't necessarily, and so it's easier and fast. I mind you, remember, having taught English, I think good fantasy, if you wanted to apply it to various things, is very hard to do. I'm sorry, Dan, I'll take this off in a minute. Paul Richard says, I was eating a cream cake, so I think we'll have a cream cake monster in Doctor Who. It's fabulous and exciting. Yeah, I wonder where he was, Dan, when he wrote Space Babies.
Yeah,
exactly. On the toilet.
On the toilet. I mean, I am trying to always be positive, but this is what people are saying in publications now.
We need the Candyman back.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, the Candyman would be dark and serious and heavy now, wouldn't it? Compared to all this.
It'd be great.
Crimpline is muttering, is it easier to make Doctor Who like something else than to make Doctor Who like Doctor Who? Crimpline.
Apparently.
Yep, the horse has bolted, hasn't it? I mean, gosh, if we had an episode that was like Doctor Who, I'd be stunned. David Harding, whether it's fantasy or sci-fi, the things that need to make sense still need to make sense. I agree with you there. And I'm not doing down fantasy, as you know, because if you read The Hobbit, the map's all set up. If you're watching stuff like Game of Thrones or reading the book, it is so structured and it has an internal logic. Now, Doctor Who has an internal logic, but now we have a sledgehammer TARDIS and we can do various things. And he's breaking that logic. The bi-generation. How can I watch Genesis of the Daleks or Destiny of the Daleks now when I know that the next time I see Davros, he will be walking? So I know people are saying, oh, when I watch Classic Who, it's okay. I just forget it's happened. I can't. I know for a fact that the new series is just completely changing him.
You could just go back to Planet of the Daleks, though.
I think that's what everybody needs on Sunday at 6.
Well, I'm going to do.
Yeah. Jim, Davies is actively not listening to his critics. He never did. He makes a virtue of it, which is fine if you're delivering the goods, which he isn't. Good to see you, Sally. You can say that. You can say that. Yeah, you can feel a love, can't you? Crimpling. RTD had the idea for Space Babies while picking his nose, clearly.
I was thinking that, but I wasn't going to say it. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Crimpling. No, so anyway, so there you go. You can guarantee that with the sense for you who do try and apply common sense, it's more like sense of humor at the moment. RTD, our showrunner, earning a good crust on this. I get TV ideas brushing my teeth. Thanks for that one. Can you imagine Verity Lambert, Barry Letts, Philip Hinchcliffe
brushing their teeth? No,
talking like this.
No.
Oh, I was talking to Robert Holmes and we were discussing how we could do a parody of The Mummy, and it was while I was on a train and I was looking after my baby. I mean, what the hell?
Let's having a bath.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, Brendan is quoting from this Radio Wales. Sorry, there it is. Take what you want from it. It sounds so easy. Doug, shall we start writing? This sounds easy.
I'm going to start cleaning my teeth more often, that's for sure.
Yeah. I might do the back ones as well. No. Gosh, oh my God. I mean, I've got gaps, so I suppose there'll be gaps in my logic and there'll be gaps in my plot. Oh dear. So anyway, he then talks about the Christmas episode, and therefore I can tidily package this away and then move on to something else, folks. The episode named Joy to the World is about a hotel with a different world in every room. Yeah, we've got that bit. You do feel the pressure,
We know that.
and you should. That's part of the job, right? Okay, he feels pressure. You get the fear. You don't want to disappoint. You've got to say something new, right?
No, you don't.
Yeah, just give us Base Under Siege. I was doing that in our Sunday's anniversary show. You've got to have impact. So that's a great fuel to the engine while you're cleaning your teeth. Honestly, he's not sounding like Tolkien, is he? So yeah, we know the Nicola Coughlan stuff. He mentions, just for a second, everybody, the war between the land and the sea. Now, does this make you feel any better about 2025? It's a different show. It does not have the Doctor in it. Doctor Who doesn't. We have done that for over the years. There was Torchwood. Yeah, we know. It's in it, an ancient species emerges from the ocean, triggering an international crisis. Now, that sentence looks fine. Then RTD opens his gob. When you look and see what we have done to our seas, if you lived in the ocean, if there was such a thing as an ocean creature, wouldn't you be furious? Haven't we ruined them? Oh, the messages are coming. The sea devil's going to have a plastic in his mouth, and he's going to say... Yeah, and he's going to go, you lot. Can you
That's what his string vest is going to be made out of. He'll have a plastic string vest on, won't he?
Can you buy into that? Is that okay?
No. Just make it good.
Would you rather have the Sea Devils, the Silurians, whatever, and we don't reference the pollution in the ocean?
Well, do it in a subtle way. Don't hit us over the head with a sledgehammer. This series is all about sledgehammers, literally. It's not clever at all.
Warriors of the Deep was set around Cold War, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Exactly.
So, it's not the messaging. It's just the transparency of the preachiness of it.
It's the delivery of the message. It's clumsy. I'm all for messages if it's integral to the plot and it's done well. But
can I say, lads? I'll have to find which stream I did this year, when I did actually say that I wonder if they're going to do sea pollution and the Sea Devils, etc., will be therefore like terrorists. Or called terrorists because they'll be so angry about the treatment of their habitat, and we're the baddies, and therefore they have to kind of go to war on us because we're damaging them. Do you know what? I wasn't brushing my teeth and I wasn't on the toilet, and I thought of that for free. So when he said we have to do things new, I have to fuel the engine. Well, I'm sorry, but I was sat on some stream just waffling on, and I said what he's going to deliver. I mean, God, these people are getting paid for this. Horses for Courses, says Julian. The BBC were embarrassed by their gender pay gap. That was the reason I think she was cast. We're talking about Jodie, aren't we? And then we've got Freema that we're talking about. Peter's with us. They already covered it in the original episode. Rories of the Deep, Sadako 24, good to see you. Rories of the Deep was horribly preachy too. It did kind of set up a bit like that, and we had the moralization at the end, but God, nothing on this scale. Lee Smith,
why not? Had all the weird Silurians too.
Yes,
they're like weird names and stuff.
Why not write a cool story about aliens under the seas of moons in the solar system? Yeah, just get on with it. So there you go. I think I've triggered everybody unfairly, but we can move on. But yeah, they were talking at an event, you see, when the premiere was there. So they're even talking, lads, just before we move on to beautiful John Pertwee'S season 7, they're talking about a live stage show. They're talking about, well, you had the play that went wrong, so why can't we do the Doctor that went wrong? And let's do farce.
God.
Farce.
What is wrong with these people?
Obviously, we're on trend if we're talking about farce. And this is the thing that just worries me about what they're going on about. Are you ready, everyone? Let's do season 7. Let's cheer ourselves up. So, Doug, when you heard season 7 was being released at some point in 2025, I know it'll be earlier rather than later, but, whatever. I'm happy that it's coming. Your memories, season 7.
Very, very happy. I have really strong memories. Obviously, I grew up with Doctor Who, but my doctor was John Pertwee, and I have vivid memories of watching Spearhead from space and watching it on a weekly basis. And season 7 was fantastic. It just got me back into the show because at the time, was it 1970? Was it?
Yep.
So I was 12. So by that time, I was sort of growing out of Doctor Who. I think, in my opinion, Doctor Who, when John Pertwee took over and the production team, it became not a kids' show anymore because as good as the early shows were, they were still, in my mind, still pretty much kids' shows, well-written kids' shows, but kids' shows. Whereas my feeling about this era, starting with Pertwee, was that they became kind of a bit adult. So as a 12-year-old, I didn't feel silly watching it, although to be honest, I had to be careful who I told because I grew up in a fairly rough neighbourhood. So you literally would get beaten up if you talked about Doctor Who. But it was definitely, I remember it well. And it was so well written. Had a lot of Quatermass vibes, I thought. Yeah, I could rave on it for hours, but I won't. But I absolutely do remember it, yeah.
I think we should after talking about the present era. So, yeah, Robbie here
I think
says,
we should, probably.
Yeah, I remember Spearhead coming out on VHS, booted into town on the bike just as HMV was closing. I know, because this is before my time getting into Doctor Who, just before the first season or 2 of John Pertwee, I had to play catch up and read the books and all the rest of it. So I never saw it like you, Doug, at the time.
I actually think John Pertwee saved Doctor Who because we all know that War Games, as good as it was, wasn't a huge success. And had his era not been successful, we wouldn't be talking about it now, I don't think.
David Harding's loving it. I know. And so let's see what little morsels we've got with it. Because actually, you know, these sets, I mean, as you know, they're stunning. They are actually really, really stunning. And if you take a look there, I mean, the artistic quality, it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And real collector's items, aren't they? I mean, they add so many things. They're a beautiful pack. I know you, I mean, for example, I can see you've got them behind you. If I take this off, if I did it sensibly, I can see all yours behind you, Dan, there. I mean, you know,
oh, wow.
You know, and they've kept the consistency. So, but yes, what have they got in this pack? Let's take a look. So, before we talk about the stories, 4 brand new documentaries, including Splendid Chap, a profile of the Brigadier actor Nicholas Courtney. That'd be lovely. Looking for Mac, uncovering the story of writer Malcolm Hulke.
That'd be good.
Yeah, and I've got a clip from Chris Chapman just tweeting about this. Terror in the Suburbs, looking at when Doctor Who came down to Earth.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's what made it scary, wasn't it?
Yeah. Notice the word terror. It doesn't say fantasy in the suburbs.
No.
Or brushing your teeth in the suburbs.
Fast in the suburbs. It doesn't say that either.
No. Lucky 13, Rockets, Aliens and Spare Parts, How the Science of the Day Influenced Doctor Who. Oh, God, yeah, quite right. Because Ambassadors of Death and all those, it was right on point, wasn't it? You had all the Apollo space missions. It was all getting exciting. I can imagine being a little kid and you might see on that little fuzzy telly in the corner that the moon landings and the excitement or the danger when it went wrong. And will we get the astronauts back? And then, of course, on the TV, you've got them doing a version of that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I'm just wondering if are we going to get a little book inside this?
You'll get a book.
It looked like it. If I know I blocked us all, didn't I? But let's have a look at that shot.
Hey, I noticed they've put another escape room on that page before.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Have you seen the escape room that they did in the Celestial?
No, I heard about it, but I don't think was it any good? I don't think it would appeal to me.
It was interesting watching them. Yeah, I found it interesting.
Now, while I remember, because I unfortunately, the thread, you're so wonderful, but my brain can't cope with it sometimes. So I'm going to put you up now, Reese Roder, while I can see it and don't forget it. Can I ask the awkward question to the panel? Do we know if anything is censored or cut out? Is there a cringe content warning?
Oh my God. Oh,
I mean, what would be the worst thing from season 7 that could, with our 2024 nonsense sensibilities, cause that? They shouldn't do if you buy it, though. They really shouldn't. I mean,
John Pertwee in the shower.
I don't think Barry Letts and Terrence would have let much go through that would
No,
probably
they wouldn't have.
get it trimmed. I think that sort of kicked off from Robert Holmes and Philip Hinchcliffe's era.
Mm.
well, you've got a mixture of things going on in our thread here. Jim Inferno, how to write a brilliant story while making
Oh,
the
that's so
audience.
good.
Yeah,
So good. It's my second favourite.
And knee-high boots for Liz Shaw's good thing too.
Oh, here we go.
You-
Kinky boy.
You said, Doug, though, that this is when it felt very Quatermass. And in a way, therefore, as a kid, you must have thought this felt very adult.
Yeah, that's my point. As I said, I was 12, and I probably would have started growing slightly out of Doctor Who, if I'm honest, but it just grabbed me. Yeah, very much so.
Which of the four? I mean, obviously, we'll talk about them. I've got other things to show you, but for season 7, you've got 4 stories. I mean, 3 or 7 episodes long. Which one is the one that really grabbed you at the time, and which one do you appreciate the most now?
Well, the one that grabbed me at the time, and I appreciate the most now, has got to be Spearhead from Space for all sorts of reasons, but a close second is definitely Inferno. But I like them all. I like Ambassadors of Death, and I like Doctor
I just
Who.
hope the restoration on Ambassadors will lift it enough, because the DVD, even they did a hell of a lot of work to try and get the color back into Ambassadors, but
Yeah,
my recollection was it wasn't quite there back then. But hopefully
No,
they've
it wasn't.
been able
I'm
to
sure they
give it
have.
some love.
I'm sure they have.
I mean, it's vibrant on the packaging. Look at that. I mean,
Looks great. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'll be honest. I buy the standard editions, but I might have to break my rule. It's just for the sake of they won't fit on my shelf. But I might have to break the rule and get the special edition for this one.
well, when Reese Roder asked about will something be cut or censored, or will there be a warning? What's interesting, and I've actually put the photograph up there in close up. We don't know yet what the age specification is on it. Now, isn't that probably good news then, that actually they should just keep the stuff in? And
I'm sure they will.
I'd hope so. If you're purchasing the Blu-ray collection, you are clearly a fan. I mean, you're not going to accidentally discover this. This is for the passionate fans, and the passionate fans want everything in. We don't want a butchered brain of Morbius as we got the first time round.
No.
We don't. We want everything. If we want in all these extras, with extras, we get PDFs, we get the whole blooming lot, we get scripts, we get little photographs. We want everything. We want the bloopers. We want everything. We do not want a second taken out. In fact, we want more. Now, how are you lads at the moment with the behind the sofa items? Because with this one, you've got Katie Manning, Matthew Waterhouse, now 63, Janet Fielding, Sarah Sutton, Sophie Aldred, and Toby, and the late Carolyn John's family, husband Jeffrey Beavers, and daughter Daisy Ashford. It's nice that Carolyn's got that kind of contribution, fair dues, because she was so, in a way, underused and underrated as a companion. So
yeah, I'm a bit over the behind the sofas, if I'm honest. Some of them are coming across as actors acting rather than giving their honest opinions. The idea was great.
I liked the early ones. I think that's
what I mean. The early ones were great, but now it comes across as a bit fake to me, anyway. That it's just actors acting, trying to be witty and sort of putting the show down and making little jokes, and it's just become a bit of shtick for them. I think I'll still watch them though, but I agree the early ones seem to be more off the cuff and more watchable.
Yeah, because it has crept into some of the behind the sofas where one of them will say, "Oh, that's a bit dodgy," or that, and you think,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
like Reese Roder says, will there be any trigger warning?" Well, actually, sometimes behind the sofa, you get one of the actors will say what actors tend to do, which is, "Oh, this wouldn't happen now," or something. You think, "Oh,
Yeah,
just let's
yeah,
enjoy it for God's sake."
yeah.
Robbie, I was born during Ambassadors of Death. I swear it must have been on in the background because the incidental music cries out to me. Ah.
Yeah.
Your man was scared. She was oh. David Harding knows.
There's some very long sequences there with the landing of the Mars Probe
Yeah.
7 and all that. The docking.
I still watch them as Doug said. Behind the Sofa is still
So
my
do
favorite.
I.
Yeah,
I just think they're a bit fake now.
I like because it's another excuse. It's like when they do the documentaries. It's another excuse to see parts of the episode again discussed behind the sofa. I do like to see anybody's reaction. You know that some people do podcasts on reaction shows. I suppose it's an element of that, but this time it's like, oh, I wonder what Janet Fielding's going to say now. I'm actually quite intrigued by the dynamics. I like to see who sat with who. Poor Matthew Waterhouse. He's normally with Katie Manning now. He's been pushed along from the TARDIS crew from the 80s, and he's now normally with somebody like Katie Manning who will just cuddle him and say there. I don't know. It's I love
but truthfully though, like I to be honest, I think Janet Fielding and Peter Davison, there's a bit of contempt there, and I find them irritating when the two of them are together and slagging off other people.
Thank you. That's what I was getting at, particularly those two, but I wasn't going to name names, but I can always rely on you, Dan. Thank you.
I'll name names.
Sometimes I understand there's a cynical element from a few of them there. Peter Davison sometimes also adds the that a director's view as well. He does sometimes do that angle. But yeah, I get sick of the needle. I just want them to get on with what they're there for, which is to talk about the program.
That's my point.
They think they're better than Adric. Adric's way better than Tegan.
Yeah, Adric's the best.
There you go. Happy birthday, Matthew. Season 7 will go straight into my Doctor Who room with the other ones. Oh, he's got a console room when it comes out. I love the artwork for it, and I can't wait to watch it too. Well, that sounds like you've got a winner there. There's the artwork for the 4 so far. I mean,
they're good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And actually, the season 7 one is standout. Absolutely,
I think it's the best.
Yeah,
best of the 4.
But they all do blend, don't they? I mean, it works. It's not like one stands out as if it's improved or something. They're just beautiful.
No.
I can't wait for his last one as well. The one with Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Planet of the Spiders. That's
season 11.
I know why.
I know it'll never happen, but I really want to see if they do something with Invasion of the Dinosaurs. But every time I say that, people keep telling me it's going to be too expensive and they won't bother and all the rest of it. But
they can do it with AI. Doug, they can do anything.
Doug, I'm going to do one of those. Is it called a time signal that I have to remember this moment because Cybermat Strikes Dan. Did you notice what he just said? That he's looking forward to the release of the Blu-ray collection of Monster of Peladon.
He did.
He did say that.
I know he said that.
Our job is complete. He's a convert. There you go.
We've detoxed him.
Yeah, we have. We've done something.
That's why Brendan doesn't care anymore because he's already got his Planet of the Daleks. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I'm sorted on that. So yeah, beautiful covers. Great stories. We'll have another look at one or two of them. But oh god, yeah. Like I said, it's before my time, but that I Rachel does it as well. She says Spearhead from Space is like, whoa. We know the moments. I mean, gosh, to go, as you said, Doug, to go from War Games, which I like, of course I like.
I love War Games, but I just have this feeling that if Pertwee wasn't successful, we wouldn't have been talking about the show today.
Yeah. Mind you, to be fair, we can say the same about Patrick Troughton at the beginning as well, can't we?
True.
There's a lot
Absolutely.
of stepping
Absolutely.
on, stepping off points. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, people are going mad in one respect before we mention stories that poor Patrick Troughton's era is just kind of neglected. Look at it. they're going to have to do. I mean, what do you think's holding them back? Is it because they're all blooming animations? Is it because they're still hoping to find some? Is it?
I think the BBC's holding them back. Look at the discussion they had with TARDIS Time Girl and Wheel in Space. She would have done it practically for nothing. I think it's the BBC's holding it back.
I think it's logical to hold it back because I think it means that the technology, the cost of producing, like the chance of something turning up.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that in maybe a couple of years, even the technology will be almost to the point where they can reproduce the episodes without any of that uncanny valley stuff. But
they're saying the same about AI, aren't they? That, you know, as they get there. Now, this is obviously from Chris Chapman. Now, when I was doing my podcast yesterday with one of our regular panelists, Michael Herbert, who is the biographer for Malcolm Hulke, he obviously helped with this, and so he sent it to me. I'm going to watch the documentary later because he sent me a copy, so I can have a good look at it. So as you see here, Chris Chapman, who does those amazing documentaries. So season 7, heading your way on Blu-ray, including our new film, Looking for Mac. They're set off on the trail of the incredible Malcolm Hulke. Well, that'll be beautiful, that. And all credit, if you like all this, there's Michael Herbert's book that's coming out next year, everybody. It's called Things Are Not Always What They Seem. The Writing and the Politics of Malcolm Hulke, script writer on Pathfinders in Space, The Avengers, Doctor Who, and other classic television series. And what's been really... and what's really helpful, and thank you very much, Michael Herbert, as well as coming on, is he's given me photographs and parts of the scripts and stuff like that. And he sends me loads of lovely material that I can use. And like that postcard from Sydney, remember that one? So now yes, the book. So there you go. That will be a really good documentary. I'm looking forward to that. Let's get into Malcolm Hulke, who always gave you interesting characters, but made them be rounded. There was never anybody... let me get this right. Was there anybody completely evil, or did he always give them a motivation? He always gave them a context that actually logically made sense. Millington.
Millington.
Go on, you explain.
No, which one? The general. Some of the characters in Ambassadors of Death. I remember being a little bit baffled by their motivations. They seemed a bit over the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that may not be the script. It might just be the portrayal.
Maybe. I was going to say, it's just that thing. I mean, the bad guy, a good bad guy, doesn't think he's the bad guy, does he? He thinks he's the hero in the story. So I think that's when it's really well written.
And lovely to hear from JWC Reviews, who says he's absolutely knackered. Oh, God, I know. You get to Christmas and you just flop. That's why I'm quite happy to actually be doing a recording of Planet of the Daleks and Robots of Death over the next 2 weeks. And so... just one more time, everybody. This is coming up on Sunday, 6:00.
I won't see it.
This is surely one of the most controversial moments in Doctor Who history. We've always got the plane of stones. I think it looked like a nightclub. It was like a voyeurist. I mean, I think the shooty Doctor would have just got on some little elevated stone and just kind of been gyrating and thought he was in some sort of little night spot. I think the Doctor's going through he's like in the charity shop going through the shelves. He's going through all this bric-a-brac, you know. We're going to die. Hold on a minute, I like this plastic. Hold on, do you know they haven't dusted it?
What happens on the plane of stones stays on the plane of stones.
Oh, join us for
I'm
that.
sure it was very good.
It was very exciting. It was riveting, as everybody knows. I
didn't see it. I'm going to have to watch the replay.
So yes, Planet of the Daleks on Sunday at 6, and we've also got Robots of Death the Sunday after at 6 for treats for everybody at Christmas. And Zero Room, who's Brian from Canada, has just joined us in the thread.
Go,
There.
Brian.
The David Tennant lookalike. He was.
Love your work, Brian.
So
where's Pure Historical? AKA Dwayne.
He might be Christmas shopping.
He's too busy messing around with non-canon stuff.
So, as I talk away, lads, because obviously I love the technology, it sometimes throws a little curveball, and it's thrown us at the beginning again. So, I do think the season that. Sorry, I'll start again. On one of my screens, it showed that one of the extras was omnibus editions for each one of the stories. Would that be something that appeals, or would you just like to do the episodic?
Both. Do both.
Would you do that? Would you watch, like, say, the 7 episodes and then watch the omnibus? Why?
Not on the same day, but definitely, yeah, absolutely. I've done it before.
Okay.
I like the special editions where they go all in on the effects and stuff. But if the omnibus, I suppose, with the 7 episodes, it does help to have the bits taken out, and because some of them do cheat a little bit. They do overplay the overlap. Do you know what I mean? When you get almost like 8 minutes or something, it feels like you get the whole 8 minutes again.
Yeah, you get the cliffhanger all over again, plus some before they start on the story.
Yeah. So for people like JWC Reviews and Zero Room, accidentally by a technical glitch, you're getting a review of the whole broadcast so far. But we'll get. Here we go. We get to season 7 here. We were talking about Behind the Sofa. You've got the movie length omnibus editions of Doctor Who and the Silurians and Inferno. Oh, I mean that sounds like a beautiful afternoon. You pointed out, Dan, the escape room that you think might be worth it. I've showed you the Looking for Mac. I'm up for that. And the Terror in the Suburbs. I mean, bring it on. I mean, give us some.
So that's the one that appeals to me. Yeah, that one. Bring that one on for sure.
Then, of course, let's not forget Sergeant Benton. John Levine will be interviewed about his life and career. So it's always nice. I mean, I love them. I actually do like those interviews. What I have to say,
I do. Yes.
What I have to say about these Blu-ray collections is I think the quality of the documentaries is fantastic.
Oh, they're superb.
There's lots of lovely touches, well considered. I mean, Matthew Sweet's interviews are well researched, and he really gets to some of the issues.
Absolutely. They're really good.
To be fair, Dwayne's got a cracker of an interview with John Levine on Sirens of Audio.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I was gonna say I'm trying to put this tactfully. Every time I've seen an interview with John Levine, he seems quite eccentric.
Yeah, he's very eccentric. To be honest, Dwayne and Phil, they didn't seem to have to ask him much. He did most of the talking.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I got. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and he's very entertaining, but he seems a bit out there to me.
Now, Paul Richards is saying, why is there no trailer for season 7? And you may remember, Paul, that they've decided, budget, they've stopped them. So we had that lovely season 15 one with Louise Jameson on Gallifrey. We've had those with Katie Manning and a baby Sea Devil and all the rest. It's all gone. That's it. No more.
Maybe we can ask an AI to create a season 7 trailer.
Well, there's some
stunning. In all seriousness, that would have been a good idea, I think, because I don't think there are many people living from that season. That would have been a great idea.
There's some great creative Doctor Who fans out there, and
my God, yes.
Pick your YouTube animation. There's stunning stuff, and so it's easily doable. And
absolutely.
Actually, when you go back, I remember when Stephen Moffat was showrunner. Remember when on YouTube you saw somebody did a new opening sequence, and in the end, he hired them, didn't he?
I think they gave it a few tweaks, but they used, and that was great. I thought, I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I thought that was one of the better title sequences.
Yeah, I didn't like the screechy music. That was the trouble that went with it.
No, fair enough, yeah.
One thing I will say is, have we all seen that lovely YouTube sequence? It's about, I don't know, 30 seconds long, where the TARDIS dematerializes and seems to go from one location, then it seems to land slowly and materialize in a forest. And that sort of animation, God, can the series please do? I know somebody will say, well, wasn't his landing at unit like that? But it wasn't materializing. It was like a space shuttle, and that was my criticism.
So many creative people out there, and doing it on a shoestring budget too.
Yeah,
they need to
right.
get back to the Christopher Eccleston description of the TARDIS dematerialization. Disappears here, reappears there.
Exactly.
Just none of this crashing around crap.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
So I was asking you about the stories. I mean, you're from a slightly different generation, Dan. So which one of the season 7 does appeal and you've always enjoyed, and why?
Oh, look, I like them for different reasons, because I didn't watch them together. They were drip fed to me through various different sources. The Spearhead, I think, is, again, that was one that I remember seeing probably the earliest.
Yeah.
Intact, because remember, I think I saw the others all as black and white copies. Because remember, they only had the. I think these are the ones that they had the black and white Australian or film prints, and then they had to mix it with the NTSC color copies to try and get the color back in them. So yeah, I think Inferno. I think I saw Inferno. It's funny. I have a memory of being a child where I think I saw Inferno in color in around 1986, but then later on, when it was on UK TV in the 90s, by that stage it was black and white again.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. They must have. I don't know what point they lost the color copy of it.
Well, let's hope let's hope that they've picked the time in that they can do a decent colorization, so that,
I'm sure they have.
Yeah, because we're at a point now. Come on, we've bought it as a DVD single, Spearhead from Space on its own, etc., etc. Then we get the upgraded version. Like there was a Spearhead from Space new special edition, and so
the Blu-ray.
Yeah, and so come on, we this is it, please. And so as you're saying, Dan, can this be the top-notch version of Inferno, please? Because the stories are great. It's just, can we have the best execution of them for posterity now? Thanks. And this is great, isn't it? And we knew this was going to happen as soon as the War Games was chosen to go in color. And they said there was going to be a Pertwee. Well, I said regeneration to trigger us all, but we reckon it's John Pertwee. So you're going to see John Pertwee regenerate from Troughton, which was never in the scene at the end of the War Games. And I do wonder whether you should be doing that, really. However, it clearly looked as though, from a merchandise point of view, they were teeing up this. But
you say that, I would have thought the logical one box set to release this year would have been season 13 with Pyramids of Mars, given they promoted it so much.
True.
That's a good point.
True. Yeah. It's just that while they're colorizing all the black and whites, as is RTD's ambition, and I approve of that, but not the editing. You see, you think, what came first, chicken or the egg? And so you've got the timing of the season 7 Blu-ray collection coming out, and they obviously knew that so even before the War Games was commissioned, they probably had all this planned out, and you would
hope it's coordinated, wouldn't you? I hate to think this was just a fluke. This surely was coordinated.
But if it is coordinated, that tells you that we've had the creative input to the War Games in color has been affected by this, because let's have John Pertwee's regeneration in War Games. Hold on, why? Well, because
I'm not against that, though. If I'm honest, I'm not against that at all. apparently I might be getting this wrong. Apparently, the guy that's doing the regeneration has his own YouTube channel, and he's done it already in a cruder form. And I think he's the one doing it, and it I think it will look really good. I'm not against, and it's logical that that's what probably would have happened. So we've got the original anyway. So from my point of view, I'm not against that.
It's just, it's the Tinkerbell golden dust
I
job.
know, but they can't change it now. They started with it. They've got to stick with it. I mean, I agree with you, but I think it'd be silly to change it.
But Doug, this is the problem. We're starting to say, well, RTD's changed that, so we've got to give in now. It's like, ugh. So
I suppose.
Anyway, so I mean, my favourite. It's a funny one because Spearhead from Space has those iconic scenes, and the Autons are chilling. But, but I've also watched that story more than the other three. Now I watched the Silurians recently, all 7 episodes, and I really do enjoy the Silurians. I love how different they are. I love that they weren't just another token monster. They were an ancient species. They were civilized. They were clever. And I loved that kind of torn doctor. And Carolyn John is brilliant as Liz Shaw. I mean, why they seem to think that you have to have a companion who goes, why, doctor? What, doctor? Why are you doing that, doctor? Oh,
yeah, I agree.
You can do
I don't think they used her well enough. She was really good. I think that the biggest mistake they ever made was not keeping her on for at least another couple of seasons. As much as I love Jo Grant, she was so good.
Yeah. So yeah, Silurian's great, although it's always unfortunate when you've just watched it and you think, oh, now there's a Blu-ray version, right? Cheers. That'll be the last one I watch now, probably. So, but I'm actually the most intrigued out of the 4 to watch Ambassadors of Death again, because I think I've only watched it in my life maybe twice.
I watched it fairly recently when, and Dan will probably remember this, BritBox had classic Doctor Who for a while, and then they stopped it around about the time the Disney deal was announced, and I watched most of season 7 then, and I really love Ambassadors of Death. It's really a good watch.
Yeah, and it's all conspiracy, and it's all it's on the money actually. It's
was actually, it on the BritBox, Doug? Was it was it black and white, or was it the DVD color release?
Well, do you know, I might be lying, but I remember it as being color. I really do.
Okay.
But it must be, because if it was black and white, I'd surely remember. And they had some really good action sequences in there too. It was really, it's a good little. I can't wait to see the new Blu-ray.
You see,
I'm going to break my rule, I think, and buy the special edition for this one.
Well, we're all looking forward to it, and for different reasons. Crimpling, Fulton Mackay is superb in the Silurians, and I got a shock that he was only up into the first 4 episodes. Actually, I mean, you get somebody of that quality, and you'd think he'd see it all the way through. Peter Miles, of course, Nida later on. You
Michael
have
Wish there, isn't he?
Sorry,
Michael Wish is in one of them as well.
Yes, he is.
Spearhead. Yeah. And so Brian here, the Zero Room. Liz was a missed opportunity. She was fantastic. Should have gone on longer.
Totally agree.
I don't know if John Pertwee had a bit of an issue with the dynamic between the character. I've read different things.
I have too. You have a bit of an ego, but then I suppose most actors have to, don't they?
Well, we all know that the person who was going to get the job before Liz Sladen, and he poo-pooed it, didn't he? Because
that's right.
I think was she taller, and I don't know. He thought it didn't work, but yeah. Anyway, have a good Christmas.
Liz Shaw with the boots and the wig.
Yeah. Last advert here for the Malcolm Hulk. It's out next year. Thanks to Michael Herbert. I'll be getting that. Thins are not always what they seem, but it'll look at the 60s shows he wrote. He was script editor for Crossroads. There's loads of stuff there. Now, I think we're all up for it. And this Ben says, wouldn't it be fun way to announce the collection season 7 after the Warn Games color rise? Your fantasies come true, mate. Just about. No, it's been sarcastic. Now, 50 years ago, on the 28th of December, 1974, we had Robot. We had Tom Baker. We had Harry. We had Sarah. Now, there's our little advert. Let's see if this works, because Boomer Doug has also been talking about Christmas, and I just want to get his advert in, subscribe to his channel, and then we're going to talk about Robot at 50. And let's hope my technical glitches don't do it again.
Watching the Sensory
Here we
channel.
go.
And now some chill discussion after the week's
Nope.
angst.
All I
With
see
the
is
Doctor
black
Who
screen.
Detox Hour. Or two.
Guess we're not seeing it tonight.
This week, the influences on Doctor Who are The Empire Strikes Back, Independence Day, and Superman 2.
There we go.
And we're talking about the Christmas invasion. I will obviously go into detail, but if you have a look at these visuals that I'm showing you now, I'm sure you can all see some similarities between the movies and the special. Because it's the season, I'm still delving into Doctor Who Christmas specials, and partly because Brendan appears to be a Grinch and doesn't like the Christmas specials and probably doesn't believe in Santa, I've decided to look at the Christmas invasion. There are a few obvious connections between various movies and the Christmas invasion, which I've briefly mentioned in the voiceover. The first and most obvious one is the Empire Strikes Back connection. The duel between Luke and Darth Vader is so similar to the duel at the end between the 10th Doctor and the Sycorax leader, even to the point where the 10th Doctor loses a hand, except obviously Luke's doesn't grow back. Then there are some visual similarities between the alien ships hovering over various cities all over the world, both in Independence Day and in the Christmas invasion. Also, maybe this one's slightly tenuous, but the trope of the absent hero in Superman 2 and in the Christmas invasion, for a large part of Christmas invasion, obviously the Doctor is largely absent, and part of Superman 2, the same applies with the Superman character. As any of you that watched the movie knows that he gave up his powers for Lois Lane. And in both cases there was a call to arms, people asking for help, and then the Doctor emerges from the TARDIS like a very Messiah-like, and obviously saves the day. There's also a final, very slight connection to Shakespeare. There's a character in the play The Tempest called Sycorax, who is a very powerful witch. So I'm guessing that's not a coincidence either. So all in all, just influences, no rip-offs here, just a really, I think, excellent Christmas special. It was one of my favourites. A very good entrance for the 10th Doctor. So there you go. You've got Empire Strikes Back, Independence Day, Superman 2, and a little bit of Shakespeare thrown in for good measure. Anyway, guys, as usual, let us know in the chat and the comments if there's anything that you can add or that I've missed. And also keep sending in suggestions for any future segments, because I'm starting to run out. Anyway, back to you guys. See you later.
There you go. So another treat from Boomer Doug. Boomer Doug, you've got a Christmas upload coming, haven't you, for your channel?
Yes. On Christmas Day, Miracle on 34th Street. Currently, I have a one that could do with a few views. It's my favourite Christmas viewing for movies and TV. And also thank you to everyone out that has been watching my Guns of Navarone. I'm up to something like 2,000 views now. That's just crazy. I've got a feeling it was a fluke, but I'm going to take the win anyway. And New Year's Day, I think I've got Ocean's 11, the original version, to talk about. So there's a bit to come.
There you go. So as I teased everybody, 28th of December, so in just over a week's time, when you can watch your Robots of Death, just about, the day after on our classic review, you've got Tom Baker becoming the Doctor 50 years ago, that great TARDIS crew, that robot story, and of course, we were talking about season 7, but my God, this was a beautiful era for Doctor Who, and I've got vivid memories of this.
Me too.
But go on, you start off, Doug. Go on, take us through.
No, I'm just disagreeing with you. I mean, let's be honest. This episode is not perfect. It's far from perfect. I've obviously done a thing about the King Kong connection. But, I mean, let's face it, Tom Baker made a hell of a debut, didn't he? I mean, he was the Doctor from the moment he appeared on the screen. He had me won over. And bear in mind, my Doctor was John Pertwee. And we all know how we feel when we lose a Doctor and there's a new one. We're always a little bit apprehensive. But he had me won over by the end of the first episode, definitely.
I was quite troubled as a what, 5? How old was I then? About 5. And so I didn't understand what was going on. And like I always say, John Pertwee was like a lovely granddad with a bit of an edge to him. You know, he'd tell people off, but you liked that because he was in your corner. And that.
So this would have been weird for you then, wouldn't it? Because this guy's far from a granddad. How did you react to this one then?
I remember being. I mean, it's hard to say what a 5-year-old's head was doing, but I remember thinking I didn't like him in episode 1 with the scarf and the hat and putting his feet up on Bessie. But as I always say, by the end of the episode, to me, it was a good story for a 5-6-year-old because I was drawn in by the viewpoint of the robot when it would go and cut the barbed wire and everything. And the music, Dudley Simpson's music helped. And
yes.
I was engaged there, so I was given more time with the Tom Baker Doctor, and actually he is so mesmerizing that I started to forget about the John Pertwee Doctor when it was because everyone's calling him Doctor. He's got Bessie, and he walks into the TARDIS and all the rest of it. So basically, you're going, gosh, I just remember being so conflicted and confused as a 5-year-old that John Pertwee's Doctor died on the floor in the lab. And trying to understand that it needed a nudge from Choji. I was trying to work out what's going on. How do you do that? So I know I wasn't getting the Buddhism and all that stuff.
No.
And then to see, this is when Doctor Who, the one issue with Robot to me is where we are with RTD now. The silly bit. So when they make him do a clown costume and skipping ropes. This is the bit about Doctor Who I've never liked. And as a 5-year-old, I didn't like it. Do you know what? As a 5-year-old, I'd had John Pertwee, and like I said, I trusted him. And then suddenly I had this Doctor doing skipping ropes and everything. Now, who was that written for? What, the 80-year-olds would love that? The little kids would love it. I was a little kid. I just thought it was silly and I didn't like it. I didn't want my 3rd Doctor turned into this weirdo.
You're absolutely right. There were some silly parts in it. I also have a feeling, and I think it was because of the changeover in the production team, it almost felt like this was almost meant to be written for John Pertwee. And I think it's just the strength of Tom Baker that he overcame it all and kind of his personality shone through. But I agree with you totally. This is far from a perfect story.
It's just that bit, and it's been picked up since because it's the Tom Baker regeneration where he goes a bit manic for a few moments, thank God.
Yeah.
They've done with Colin Baker and they've done in various ways Sylvester McCoy's Doctor, and I'm thinking, it's not good. I mean, please tell me in the thread, everybody. There's me, 5-year-old, not liking it. I wanted my Doctor to be reliable and trustworthy and authoritative and not a mug.
I think you're wrong.
Go on, Adric.
Of course you do.
Well,
tell us why, Dan. Tell us why.
Dramatically, if Tom and John are on different wavelengths, so you need something to shake the brain cells up a little bit, and it makes sense, to have him, I guess, a little bit shaky. You're not quite sure how the Doctor's going to come out in the end of this, but I mean, like you say, by the time he's there with the Brigadier on the back of the Land Rover, it really does feel like, 5 minutes ago, unit was X and now it's Y. It really does.
I was won over totally, won over.
Yeah. And I mean, once you've got Tom facing off the robot and all this kind of stuff, I mean, it just feels you've forgotten all about poor third Doctor.
What's interesting, Dan, is you've just nailed the scene when I, as a little 5-year-old, thought, no, I'll go with this Doctor. And it was the bit.
Interesting.
It's the Land Rover bit, because I don't know, does he dive in? I'll have to watch it again, but he does something that's classically fourth Doctor Tom Baker, but I then suddenly liked him. And I remember the moment, when he's looking at the, is it buttercups or daisies? Something's been squashed by the
he squashed
robot.
Dandelion.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I can't
blows
remember. I
it
think it might be
in his
Dandelions.
face.
Yeah.
And it was that bit to me when I suddenly thought, oh no, he is the Doctor. He's clever and he's observant. Now, I wasn't saying that language as a 5-year-old, but I remember thinking, yeah, I like him. And isn't it weird? Because the scarf was a problem to me, because it's funny how little kids like boundaries and rules and routine. And suddenly your Doctor's gone, completely different clothes. And suddenly you're going, whoa. It's a bit like you suddenly get a different babysitter and you're going, whoa.
It's really
I
interesting
think that's
too, the
the
way
point,
that you
though.
reacted to it.
You were going through the natural change process. You were being
Yeah,
confronted by
I was
the
about to
change.
say, it's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Well, this is
didn't
what
try and
Doctor Who
choke.
fans understand. It doesn't matter which Doctor it is. We all know there's a moment when you're going, oh gosh, I don't know if I like this or not. You're not sure. And I think that's part of the normal process as a Doctor Who fan.
It totally is. I mean, it's interesting that you, as a 5-year-old, I was a cynical teenager who was starting to feel I was slightly too cool for Doctor Who. But this guy just sucked me in. But it took me, maybe a couple of episodes, but eventually I forgot John Pertwee, and John Pertwee is still my Doctor.
Yeah. And, yeah. I mean, it's a lovely period, and I've got some lovely, tasty pictures, as you know, from the photo research group at Facebook. Look at that. There's Michael Kilgariff. I mean, it's fantastic just to see this. But there's one of the great action shots that, as a kid, you were still sucked in. It still had unit. It still was recognizable enough before Tom Baker got in that TARDIS and disappeared to Nerva Beacon. When you look back, since this is now nearly 50 years.
That's scary.
It's scary, but I think the production values and I think the stories in season 12 were top notch. And
oh, yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's like we've just had season 1, and this is not nostalgia talking. This is season 12 landed brilliantly for a brand new Doctor, and it only had 5 stories, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, totally. This is what I was saying. I was a cynical teenager that really thought I was too cool for this show, but it's the stories and Tom Baker that made me keep tuning in. Absolutely. I mean, I was a bit, obviously, even then you could tell some of the special effects were a bit crap, but the robot design is beautiful.
That's a masterpiece of design.
It really is.
I mean, it makes no sense logically in a way. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I've got it in my loft somewhere. And I know it's worth about blooming £400. You know, the 1970s ones. But I
remember seeing the replica of it at the Cardiff Doctor Who experience, and it just blew me away. I turned into a 6-year-old. I went there with my daughter when it first opened, and not just for Doctor Who. I'm not that crazy. I grew up in Wales, but she's got video of me, and I'm walking around a 50-plus-year-old man like a bloody 6-year-old. It's quite funny to watch, and that was one of the things that really blew me away. Is that replica of the robot? It's just amazing.
But this is, I mean, there's so many different things. We've talked about the season 7 collection coming out, and we can actually have our little private moments when we might remember watching it the first time. But when as you've just said, when you see a prop, and we now realize you could be 87 and you will still have that moment when you remember.
Oh, God, yes.
We can't travel in time, but we can. As I keep saying to the kids at school, you can time travel. It's just sometimes your brain plays with you. And basically, I can remember watching Robot episode 1. That's time travel. I can. You can remember watching season 7. I mean, this is amazing. And this is, I don't like words like nostalgia or sentimentalism. This is called time travel. This is you connecting to a younger you. And this is when I link to Matt Smith's final Regeneration speech when he says, it's important to remember all the people you were, we're now remembering being kids. You're remembering being a teenager. It's life enhancing, isn't it? It's lovely.
I think that's why the show is so important to so many people. It's not just a silly little TV show. It means so much to all of us in individual ways. And I think that's why we're so possessive and critical and outspoken about it. It affects us. And I can't speak for everyone, but I'm guessing most people would have started to watch the show maybe between the ages of 6 and 10. And they're the sort of years where you're really open to this kind of stuff.
Now, has the world changed? Because this is it. And I'm not trying to do a diss on season 1. Season 1 has happened. But when you've got a brand new Doctor who might be quirky and very different to John Pertwee, which he was, that doesn't mean it's a sold deal. You then have commission robot, so you keep it on Earth. So we've got recognizable things like the Brigadier and that, and Bessie. Then you go to Ark in Space, Sontaran Experiment, Genesis, Revenge of the Cybermen. I mean, they were giving Tom Baker one of the best launch pads possible. Now he grasped it. I mean, he did his bit, but so did Liz Sladen, and so did Ian Marter. Because I don't know, but I'm going to ask you all, lads. But there's moments in, say, Revenge of the Cybermen, the way the Doctor is grated by Harry and Sarah. I loved the dynamic going on. I loved the kind of science, if it's called science. When the Never Beacon's security was attacking them, and they went under a desk, and then he waved his shoe, and then he told me, well, that's because it's an animal fabric, and I'm like, oh, absolutely. I mean, Dan, if I'm talking about Tom Baker's era, season 12, whatever, what would you like to mention and just say where it grabbed you?
Oh, look, I remember watching Robot as a kid. It stuck in my head. In fact, I think it was the very first Target novelization that I've got, the Doctor Who and the Giant Robot, with Terrence Dix. But the even I just remember being so worried about Professor Kettlewell, as a kid, thinking it was really sad, worrying about what happened to him and all that sort of thing when he was missing. I was really bought into the robot and everything.
Yeah. And Boomer Doug, you did, as you said recently, you talked about the King Kong. I mean, I've got the pictures. I mean, I love this picture. I mean, look at that rehearsal shot where it's wrapped in tinfoil or something. I mean, unbelievable. Oh, I just wish.
But I like even things like the effects as a kid. I can say honestly, even a kid of the 80s, watching those effects, I didn't even see the effects. Like, I was just totally sold on the being able to suspend disbelief, and there was a tank there, and there was a real dematerialization gun, and
the famous Action Man tank.
Yeah, we see. That is solid as. Look how solid that looks.
I know.
And yet, what a beautiful trick. And I know it's got touches of King Kong and that and all the rest of it, and that's where Doctor Who's good.
Doesn't matter.
It's a launch pad into more serious stuff later on. But honestly, that relationship with Sarah grabbed me. I mean, there was so much going on in this story. Number one, a new Doctor, would I be convinced? But Sarah was your leading hand, and Sarah in this, and that relationship with the robot, I was convinced by it. I absolutely loved it.
Me too. That's acting.
Yeah, and they even, I mean, probably the biggest plot hole for me was, when you think about it, is that there's no way that robot's built for like mining and drilling operations to bore through a tunnel. There's no way that thing could bore a tunnel.
But it did have menace. I still think one of my favorite bits was it. And this is out in the open. A unit battle sequence is always good, but
those action sequences are pretty good.
Yeah,
for the budget they had.
I still remember the bit. Where the bit where Sarah goes to the think tank, and Hilda Winters turns the robot, like gives the robot orders to hurt Sarah. man, as a kid, I remember thinking, no, I was fully like,
Yeah. We see,
I thought he was really going to do it too.
but it was inventive on so many levels. I mean, John Pertwee had his gadgets and all the rest of it, but once you got this brand new Doctor, that scarf was used straight away. And so you could see how it could be used. And I've got the scene here where, of course, does he trip it up? Or later on, you've got Robots of Death when he puts his hat on top of the robot's head. You know, it's just, that's what kids like, that suddenly it's inventive. And he's just using his costume. It's not like saying suddenly he's discovered Mavity gloves. I mean, do me a favor.
Yeah.
It's his costume for 7 years, but he uses it. Brilliant. But this was scary, and people in the thread are talking about Kettlewell with the Einstein hair. I suppose as a kid, it's the caricature that you have as a mad scientist, isn't it?
Of course it was, yeah.
Oh, Ed Burnham was great in it. Like just.
But
Ian Martin was such an unsung hero, though. There was a comment earlier in the thread. I mean, Harry was a great character, and Ian Martin was a great actor. And that trio was one of my favourite trios. I was so sad it didn't last beyond, apart from a couple of appearances beyond season 12.
You know what's really good about the Hinchcliffe years around this time with Unit and Harry and all, like you did. It's funny the way things drop in and out, and you don't even notice it. So hangs together so well. You don't notice there's no TARDIS in season 12.
Not at all.
Like even when Harry's left back on Earth, you still feel like Harry and Sergeant Benton, the whole unit. Like it never occurred to me that the unit gang was not together right up through till Hand of Fear. Because it felt like you're left always feeling like they're there just back on Earth, kind of waiting.
And you just know they did the transmat thing for budget reasons, don't you? They probably didn't want to do a new TARDIS set and probably didn't want to get the old prop out of mothball. So I thought, let's think of something else. But it was still clever. We didn't, as you say, we didn't question it.
No, it felt like, look, you know my age for this period, but it felt like real science to me. It made logical sense. Now, as a kid Mavity gloves, sledgehammer TARDIS, I'm not sure. I wasn't convinced. I needed my dad to explain the John Pertwee regeneration to Tom Baker. And my dad, bless him, tried a few attempts. Because
did he?
Yeah, because obviously they don't want to sell me a dud, which is actually you never die, because obviously he doesn't want me to think I'm invincible. So, of course, to try and explain regeneration to a kid, I mean, how do you do it? So, of course, all that, a kid wants some sort of logic. I don't think they buy into this sledgehammer nonsense. And Ark in Space, Nerva Beacon, everything made sense. I mean, for me as a kid, when she was attacked by the Cybermat and she was injected with the poison, and it was dramatic and it was horrific to see her die. And then that genius one-liner to say, right, we transmatter to Voga and it goes. Oh, to me, that made sense. Yeah.
It did make sense.
Science fiction.
Yeah.
So, I mean, God, can I just ask you to do a timey-wimey thing? Can you imagine 28th of December, 1974, and the new Doctor is not Tom Baker? I mean,
who are we talking about?
Well,
it's not Tom Baker.
But this is what I mean. I don't think Doctor Who would be what it was at all. I mean, and I know it's a hard one to say because we don't know who else, but I have to say, I think Tom Baker was the best fit for the time and did stuff to Doctor Who that we haven't gone anywhere close.
He was totally the best. I can't remember. Did somebody turn it down? I can't remember.
I don't know because we had
Ron Moody was mentioned, but that might be another Doctor.
But this is just so his eye. You come on, we all know Tom Baker's face, his voice.
It's Tom or nothing. I mean, there's no way I could even imagine anyone else doing what he did. I mean, yeah.
I think it was Tom and John that kind of led people to believe that if you got the right person, you didn't need a great actor, but because they kind of inhabit the Doctor as themselves, and I think that's
Yeah, I agree.
problem.
I agree.
The problem with the current generation is clearly the showrunner thought that they were going to get the Doctor or have the Doctor fit the actor rather than the actor fit the character.
It's definitely about the casting. I mean, I keep saying this about Shooty. If there was a Doctor that I liked, I would be very forgiving of any substandard stories up to a point, because the Doctor is the reason we watch this show. Well, I watch it anyway. So you're absolutely right. I mean, someone like Tom Baker and John Pertwee. Look, I like a lot of the other Doctors, but they're the two that stand out for me.
They elevate material that
yes,
whenever
that's
there's
exactly right.
questionable material,
Exactly right.
they elevate it.
It's exactly right. Maybe Peter Capaldi as well, but very few of the others. I'm sorry.
We see, but this is my point. When people think, oh, go and touch grass, you're being too critical. Excuse me, the season 1 of Tom Baker compared to season 1 of John Pertwee compared to season 1 of Shooty. Excuse me, please judge. Come on.
It's not even a conversation, is it? It's not even a conversation.
Shooty's the best, yeah.
And this is why I found it fascinating today, because season 7 coming out is obviously launch season 1 for Pertwee. It's 50 years season 1 started for Baker. And then we've just had season 1. And I'm sorry, but in what universe would anybody say Shooty Gatwa has been served a good season to launch his Doctor? I mean, it's just not.
He wasn't in half of it.
No.
I'm at a loss. I don't have words.
And that's what I mean. This is the great writer who brushes his teeth and has another idea. I'm sorry, but this was taken seriously in 1974. It was taken seriously in 1970. It's not, I don't think it's taken seriously in 2024, but it's got the money. I mean,
that's exactly right.
Yeah. I think just something's gone wrong with it all that worries me no end. Now, I've got some interesting points going on here. Farsight, good to see you. It didn't look so bad if you squinted. That reminds me, when you were kids at school, right, and you're playing and you're reenacting anything from a TV program. I remember Star Trek, and when they beam me up, Scotty, and all the rest of it. I remember we had a tree where they'd taken a branch off, so it looked like a dial, a scientific dial, like radar. And we used to always stare at that, Farsight, and then we would squint, and we used to say to the lads, run to that grate in the middle of the field, like a water grate. Now, we're going to shut our eyes, and then we'll open them slowly, and you will have just appeared there. So we were doing the Star Trek transmission. So basically, I just always remember the squinting is very important, Farsight, but you have to do it slowly. You're going, right, go. And then you're checking, and then sometimes you'd see the lads run into the grate, and then it spoils the effect. But yes, squinting with the Action Man doll sometimes helps as well. Now, there's some lovely thoughts here. The Doctor was a reassuring presence. Now he's a crying superficial mess. Yeah. And Paul Richards, I don't think this is a cheap point we're making. It is important for kids to have somebody they can not trust everything they do, but overall they are routine, they are safe pair of hands, and we haven't got that.
No.
Just shout out any of them up, lads, if you see any that you like. Peter here, funny thing about Sarah was when she went to the think tank and gets lectured for assuming the guy was the one in charge. Who knew that was going to be a thing these days? I mean, she was the women's libber then. She had that lovely MG midget, didn't she? Reese Roder. I mean, gosh, I'm glad I'm not a dad now. I wonder how dads explain to their kids the Doctor changing sex and race. But everything's light touch now. Remember, everything's light touch. Logic is not needed. This is all fantasy. And this is what I mean. I do not want all the gender issues and anything serious now to be turned into fantasy. It's not taking it seriously, that. And kids can pretend what they want as kids, of course. It's called, just playing games. But they shouldn't.
Imagination.
Yeah. Tom Baker, best fit of all time. Tom Baker nearly gave up acting before he got Doctor Who. Thank God he did not.
Yes, he did.
Sliding
working on a
doors.
building site.
Look, we're all Time Machine fans. Sliding doors. As I said, can we all imagine a world where Tom Baker wasn't the Fourth Doctor in 1974? Would the show still be here for other people?
I don't think so.
I don't think it would be.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, because he carried weaker scripts later on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I can remember when my daughter worked, Everyone Dies, very sad moment. Oh, God, yeah. Paul Richards has mentioned the eccentricity and the gravitas. I know. With Feeler loved
It was
Tom.
so original. I mean, it was such an original. I don't know how much of it was Tom and how much of it was the producers and the writers, but the way they formed that character was like something we had never seen before. It was just so original.
Yeah.
It's the ones that Tom had to elevate the most, probably like Creature from the Pit.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yes, you, because he had. But the other thing is, and I know an actor is there to act, but Tom Baker was helped by his mesmerizing eyes and
the grin.
And there was just something the way he talked that did seem alien. So therefore, he was acting, but he was also kind of being him as well. And I don't know if it was Barry Letts or somebody. Didn't they say that really the Doctor Who character needs to be a character actor, somebody who's quirky and different. You don't want to pick somebody who's a soap opera actor, and that's why Jodie Whittaker and a few others didn't stand out.
It's like in an Adventure of Space and Time where William Hartnell's trying to convince the editors to sort of let him, the producers to ad-lib. He's like, I could do all of this with just a glance or a smile or whatever, and a wave of the hands. And like Tom, you can just see that there would have been a point where he would have been the exact same thing. Why do I have to learn this crap line? I've got a better one in mind, you know.
Well, let's have a bit of a sound effect. Let me explain. The reason is poor Mark Anderson is saying still can't get past RTD's comments that he's very suspicious of those people who sit in cafes.
Yeah, what does he mean by that? Because they drink coffee or what?
I mean, you know, Charles Dickens observed people. When I was in New York, I had to say to Jamie in code, Jamie, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just listening to these two fat cats from Christmas Carol talking about Wall Street and talking about how they manage their staff and screw them for every cent. And they had their two little daughters playing in Central Park. Oh, I was wanting to observe, and I thought one day it was brutal what there was. It was a Sunday, Central Park. They were chilled. They were being good dads, letting their daughters play, but they were talking about screwing workers into the ground, even if they're working from home. And I just said to Jamie, we need a code because I can't talk to you because I'm really listening to these. That's in a coffee shop. That's in a coffee shop. You can observe people. You can analyze. Come on, how many people have been in
coffee shops? I love coffee shops.
How many people have been in a coffee shop and you suddenly kind of start earwigging another table?
No, I've done it. Yeah, definitely. I've been in a similar situation to you, and it was a similar conversation too. It's pretty enlightening what people will do.
Yeah. And so, Cybermat Strikes, when we meet you, be very careful who's at the next table. Are we listening? Whoa. No, I don't know why. I don't know what RTD's saying sometimes.
One of the Dalek likers.
I just wish. Sorry for triggering you, Mark Anderson. Farsight, John and Tom hit the ground running. You knew they were the Doctor. Shooty could be anyone.
They did indeed.
We've given him a season. Now, Lee Smith has mentioned, I wonder what the ratings will be. So just to conclude, lads, in our and we're hoping to do a detox, aren't we? A reaction to the Christmas special. I haven't pinned it down yet, so I can't say out loud, but I'm hoping it's somewhere around Friday the 27th. But we've got to pin it down. We do detox. Yeah, we do detoxes on Fridays, so it's possible. Anyway, I'll confirm as soon as I can. But
No worries.
Lee Smith is saying, what do you reckon about the ratings? But what do you reckon? I'm going to widen it, lads. Seriously, you know what we've seen and you know what you've read about everything that's coming up so far. Where do you think we'll be at the end of season 2?
In the toilet, cleaning our teeth.
hoping for inspiration.
Yeah.
I really would like to see a course correction with it going in the right direction. So
yeah, but it's not going to happen, is it? Because they filmed them back to back. I'm with you. I'd love to see it. And we all sound so negative, but we all want this to succeed. That's the crazy thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm not one of these doom and gloomers. Get it off the TV. I'm genuinely
Same.
I
Same.
want the torch to be passed on to someone else. Just
Yeah,
just
same.
give it to like I was watching the Dan talk to the chat that had all the AI stuff this week, and just the amazing the passion, but the each image of each story that was being put on the screen in a handful of frames, there was so much more depth there.
Yeah.
In every one of those, to the point where it's like, just if you'd done a season of all those episodes, it would have been amazing.
Yes, you realise the time people are putting in, but actually, I don't have his name, but I know who you mean. That the lad who did all that AI, he should have really been brushing his teeth and getting on with life, because clearly there's other things to do. Season 2 will be more of the same goofy, sentimental, badly written tripe.
Unfortunately,
so
it's already done.
Paul Richards has already ordered the box set. Divine and Dragon, I think Gatwa season 2 will see us waiting to hear the cancellation notice. The trouble is, Divine and Dragon, as we're saying, we're passionate about Doctor Who. Cancellation doesn't have a guarantee with it that it'll come back. And so it's a very hard one for people to accept, isn't it? Alron, hello. Good to see you. Have you subscribed? Welcome. Sunday, 6 o'clock. We're doing a classic review. Personally, I think Gatwa is a better Doctor first series than Tom Baker in his first series. I think
it's a fair comment. I don't agree, but a fair comment.
It is fair comment, because this is Alron. I don't know if you've watched this before. We, as a sense for you, don't want full agreement on the panel.
No, it's all subjective. It's all subjective.
What I do like to do, Alron, and please, will you please write to me, because I like to get people on to get to hear your opinion, because I want to know. I need that justified and explained. I'm fascinated.
Yes, please.
Not to troll or do anything silly.
No, we just want to know.
If a kid in my classroom, for example, I'm sorry to make it sound like it's an age thing, but if a kid in my classroom said something fascinating, and sometimes you thought, oh God, why have they got that? I really wanted to know. It's not about dismissing them and putting you into a corner. So please write to me, please. I'm fascinated.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I hope the ultimate reveal will be that none of this ever happened. Peter, Dallas, Bobby Ewing, no, because that means people. What's the point of watching after that? I know.
I keep saying that
it's not going to happen.
Peter Capaldi wakes up with a dream crab on his back or his face or whatever, and it's all made up. But it's not going to happen.
So I know it's worrying me no end. But let me cheer everybody up as I'm about to conclude. First of all, believe it or not, Dan, what's on Sunday at 6 on the Sense for you?
Creature from the Pit.
So there you go. And as you know, we have a burning issue. We have the what would the shooty doctor do? We really do take the pee. Planet of the Daleks. Was it a Terry Nation rehash, or was it genius, or was it somewhere in between? We discussed. That's at 6 o'clock on Sunday. And on Sunday the 29th, Robots of Death. And my God, we do the same again, and we just enjoy being passionate about Doctor Who and shooting the breeze about something as good as that. So I'll see you just after Christmas. I want to say to the thread, first of all, thank you for following us for a year. I cannot assume that, and I cannot assume you'll stick with us. I will keep trying to invent new things. The puppet parodies kind of getting sorted out, where we go behind the scenes of Bad Wolf, yeah, called Bad Whiff, and we've got that. We've got various things we're still trying to do. I don't stand still. If you have ideas, have a word with us. Alron, have a word with me. Dan, it's been a pleasure having you on this year, and I'm so glad we've become mates, and I hope you're going to continue as I know you were nodding for the 27th. It's been great to get to know you. It's been great to have you on our channel, and I hope that just continues, and I hope you have a really good Christmas.
Yeah, same here, Dan.
Thanks, Brendan.
Fun.
Yeah, no, Doug. And and shout out to Dwayne out there who's
Dwayne.
busy recording things. Because he's keen as mustard.
See him in the
Last
year,
week,
I hope.
He texted us while we were on.
Good.
Jump on, but
he did.
We missed us.
I mean, I never assume anything. People can disappear, I know, but Dwayne has said, Morgan Dean, lovely to say that. It is the Christmas of being nice to each other. Best of luck, everyone. I'm here for the duration, if not live. Really enjoy your content and discussions. And they wouldn't be good without the thread and without decent panelists who have a passion for this. So thank you to everyone. And Doug, thank you. It's been great getting to know you as well. It's amazing how much
mate, the feeling's mutual. I've said this to you privately. There's no way, if you told me even a few months ago that I was appearing on something like this, talking crap sometimes, and just the friends that I've made, that's been the thing, the communication with the people. I mean, it's a good laugh, but it's all about just the people you meet, isn't it, and the people you talk to. And it's been great, honestly. I'm looking forward to more.
I would never have met Sylvester McCoy if I hadn't.
My God, yeah, look at that.
Hadn't aligned.
Yes, it kind of went in a circle, didn't it? Dwayne's on the show. I advertised Dwayne's Sirens of Audio thing, and then timey-wimey, sliding doors.
Life.
And it's just, I have to say, I am amazed. I mean, there's Divine and Dragon talking to him in Texas. You've got Brian.
Big shout out to Divine and Dragon. He's been a support, hasn't he? He's been fantastic.
Yeah, and it's just, whether this is the detox for Aussies and Americans and everybody, the point is, we've got people all over the place, and I'm fascinated. I love travel. And when I did my honeymoon, I can't on the honeymoon take 2 puppets, but then also go and meet everybody. But I'd have loved to have met David Harding in Toronto, etc. It's if you call that a year, I don't know what Shooty thinks about his first year, but I am quite touched, and I can't believe that my retirement from teaching has turned into this. It's unbelievable.
The spin out, hey. What a spin out.
It's been amazing, and I'm just chuffed.
The Sense Sphere's almost got more ratings than season 1.
Yeah, but Dan, you know what the problem is? The BBC can count you watching 3 times as the same person, and it's 3 views. If you watch my show many times, it's still only 1 view.
I'm waiting for the BBC to rock up here and get me for not having a license.
Well, as I'm about to say goodbye, Mad Mackham from Sunderland, Robot as a Death is my all-time number 2. So Sunday the 29th at 6 o'clock, you've got the review from us. Now, the technology's gone really weird, so I'm about to say goodbye. It might just keep us dangling here, but I hope everybody, seriously, has a good Christmas. I hope the Christmas episode is okay, everyone. And we'll meet again a couple of days afterwards to give our reaction. Enjoy, everybody, and let's see if this works. I sometimes
Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.